Okay, we're rolling.
All right, so we pick up uh, precisely, or almost precisely, where we left off. To refresh everybody, you had you had brought down the great beast, the giant three-mouthed scorpion. I think it was called the giant Kremvor, even though it was a youngling. You brought down part of a city block in the process, but it got done. Uh,
Well, to be fair, the Kremvor turned into Swiss cheese anyways.
yes, technicalities. Um, the stuff is in escrow right now. You're anticipating a fairly big payday. You've been doing a lot of work in the last couple days. Akron mentioned that he had a lead, possibly on your most valuable target, and you were on the way back to the warehouse, probably to pick up Marcus when, to discuss your further plans, probably to rest up after your exhausting and terrifying battle with the Kremvor, when you noticed that someone was following you, at least so you thought, and it looked pretty suspicious. And the two vehicles, Akron in his buggy, and Twitch, Ray, and Pharixis in the Jeep, decided to kind of split up to see, if you were getting followed, who was getting followed, how would they react, that sort of thing, just to kind of force their hand. And when the Jeep went around the corner, this kind of dark grayish, almost black SUV just pulled up beside Akron's buggy on the side of the road, and multiple people, rough-looking individuals, got out with weapons, and before anything could really happen, Akron's danger senses kicked in. He tossed an improvised paint grenade out the side of the buggy, and ordered Sarah to initiate evasive maneuvers. The the potential assailants were absolutely stunned by the paint, and a small gunfight ensued as they shot at your vehicle, Akron, and then at the Jeep as the rest of the party came back to aid. And it partway into your escape, Akron's buggy took a fairly substantial hit, and the automated control from Sarah was cut off. Akron can only assume that the comm server was damaged in some way. He flew into a rage, hoping, or kind of ignoring the hope that Sarah herself was hopefully okay, and things were looking really bad. But eventually, you all kind of decided to turn tail after Akron had alerted the authorities. It seemed like they were already in the area, and that's kind of where we left off. Is this chase in downtown Centron? So,
I guess initiative is in order.
that's actually one thing we're going to be doing differently this session.
Oh.
I am going to give us a try, and it might not be for the entire session. I'm going to see how things play out without the use of initiative. Now, there's obviously going to be a few situations where things come down to the wire, and somebody's trying to draw a gun on somebody else. That's the sort of thing that I think initiative is really useful for.
Yeah,
but
if people are trying to make a break for a grenade at the same time or something,
yeah,
that'd be a cool time to use it in that context. I like that idea.
But I think at least for part of the session, I want to try the non-initiative route to see how things go. We'll handle this how we handle Dungeon World for the most part. I'll let you guys call your own actions. I'll kind of make the circle, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is what they're doing, that sort of thing. And then we're just going to see how it flows like that.
Okay.
It feels
so
a little bit more natural that way.
We are both in the street, driving away from the car that is pursuing us now. That's where we left off, right?
Yeah. Ray, I think, is behind the wheel. Twitch is in the passenger seat. Pharixis is in the back. I think somebody might have gotten clipped by a bullet. That might not be the case. I know the car certainly got shot
I don't
up.
think anybody actually got shot.
Akron is pulling alongside in his buggy, and you guys are now racing through traffic. There are ground cars everywhere. There are gravity effect cars, 15 or 20 feet above you in certain areas. You can hear sirens off in the distance, and in your rear view screen, you see the dark SUV kind of skid around the corner following you, maybe 60 feet behind you, and everybody's just gunning their engines, and you're making a break for it down like a very main avenue. How are you guys going about this?
How much traffic is there on the road?
There's a considerable amount of people here, but it's spaced in such a way that if you are willing to violate traffic laws, you can keep going.
Don't think I really have a choice. I guess I'm going down the middle?
Yeah. There's actually like multiple lanes, but yeah, you can go in between two lanes of cars.
Is there enough space to do that?
There's barely enough space for you. Akron's buggy can easily slide through several rows of these things.
I'll definitely be doing that, but what's my status of my phone? Am I still on the hold of the police, or is my phone free to make another call, or what's my current situation with that?
Yeah, so you contacted the police, and the automated basically 911 operator answered you and informed you that they had units en route. Like they had apparently verified that there was gunfire in your area, and that was enough for them to send a response. You can stay on the line if you want, but like you've been confirmed that you've got people en route.
I'm definitely going to switch over to give Twitch up a call then. Who's driving, Twitch or Ray?
Ray's driving.
I'm driving.
Okay, then I'll call Twitch. But when I call the driver.
Hello, you reached Twitch. We're a bit busy. What's up?
I'm going to ask, crap. No, I have something for this, and I can't remember now. I feel like an idiot. No, I'm trying to think.
Akron? Is that you? I can tell by the awkward silence.
Yeah, I'm going to, you'll probably hear the screeching of tires behind my vehicle I'm driving up. I'm going to say I'm going to split up the side road. We're going to have to meet back up at the next intersection. I'm going to go with the...
Did you paint their windshield yet?
It is very loud. Like you can hear Akron's engine revving. If you look back, you can see a thin trail of like oily smoke coming from the back of Akron's buggy. And like even without over the phone, you can hear, the loud bass roar of his engine. Like he's got
sounds your car makes in GTA after you wreck it and it's still going.
It's like, I mean, he's got a freaking internal combustion engine, and that's very, very unique. So you guys are gonna spin the wheels in opposite directions and split up, or are you guys heading down, like continuing down the main street in the Jeep in Akron? You're heading down a side street.
I'm going down that narrow path you mentioned between the two cars that be hard for their Jeep to switch in through.
Yeah, so it's not a side street. It's literally just imagine traffic in New York, but not quite as congested.
I would recommend getting off this street
imagine the lanes spread out a little bit wider. You have enough room in your buggy to just go straight up the lanes if you're willing to potentially risk knocking people's side sensors off.
Are they like right on our tail or anything like that?
They're definitely keeping pace, and you can see somebody like in the passenger side, like with a rifle. They're trying to line up a shot.
I want to dart pistol the guy with the rifle.
you would know that a dart pistol has a very low likelihood of going through the windshield, so you're going to be firing at like the corner of his arm that's sticking out. Like he's not like hanging out like with half of his body out of the vehicle, so he's going to have a fairly substantial cover bonus.
Don't they have to drive it because Akron painted it?
No, he painted his own vehicle and the side of theirs. The left half of Akron's vehicle is painted a bright neon green, and the right half of their vehicle is painted the same. Like they pulled up beside him, not like
Alright,
nose
so
on.
do you want to hear the crazy action movie move?
Yes.
I'm looking for a ramp that connects to an overpass.
Oh god.
So you're looking for a ramp as Twitch takes his shot. Let me give you the AC here. Normal AC is 5. Given the juking nature of the vehicles and the fact that this guy's got basically partial cover, AC is going to be 3.
No, 14.
So you fire a dart and it hits the front end of the car and it just skips off and flies off into the distance. Do you want to roll a perception check for me?
Sure. I can do that. 2d6 plus 2, I think, yeah. And
1 sec. Yeah, that's a really high roll. You fire this, and I think your senses are really sharp right now, and part of your senses are enhanced by your psychic abilities, and you're so focused on tracking the dart that you actually follow it as it skips off, and you see it hit a Carthan on like scaffolding on the side of a building, like doing some repair work. That's obviously left over from the storm. It just hits him like right in the back, and he goes down like so many stormtroopers that have been shot. Ray, you're going off to an off ramp. You can find an off ramp.
Oh no, not an off ramp. An actual random bit of junk on the side of the road that you jump, go airborne, and then
He
go.
wants a GTA stunt jump.
Give me a luck save for that. Then.
That's what I'm like. You want to hear the crazy move?
This is like, I mean, this is downtown. If you had been closer to like the lower rent sort of areas of town, that I might not make you roll for that. But this is like, they wouldn't really tolerate that sort of garbage. But we'll see. Maybe there's something that you can ramp off of.
A small rat snake has appeared in my vehicle.
I will fix that in a moment. Luck is deep.
Man, Ray, did you forget your makeup today, or?
That looks like a pass to me. So,
Nice.
yeah, you're barreling along, and it seems like there's actually a moving vehicle that's like it's not moving very fast, like it's coming out of park, and it looks like it's a tow truck, and it's got like a double ramp. It happens to be lined up perfectly to where if you were looking to ramp off with something, you could try it.
Ray, you're not thinking of what I think you're thinking, are you? Please tell me you're not.
I go
Ray?
to the ramp and go to
Ray. Like you, I think you look back and you see Phyrexius like white knuckling the roll cage, and he is just wide eyed as you gun the engine and head for this thing.
Totally.
All right, so give me a driving roll.
Guess we die in an inglorious fireball up on the other end.
Seven.
You get no modifier?
I have. Well, actually, it would be 8 because I get Dex. So.
Okay, good.
If it's not good enough, I'll re-roll it.
I'm trying to think of what happens here. Yeah, you hit the ramp almost dead on. Phyrexius is just like, he lets out a guttural howl from the back, and you can see him start to kind of lift up in the air because he wasn't belted down. He had been standing up shooting at these guys. This is all happening in split-second time right now. From behind them, Akron, you can see like this. Like, as you're swerving into this other lane, you catch one last glimpse of them, and then you actually see them rise up into your vision again as they go up over the cars, and they hit this ramp, and they jump. And you don't see what happens to them, but you hear, like, a crash on the other side, and the rest of you in the Jeep, actually, you land on the front end of a parked car, and just bounce off the front and keep going. Like, will you please roll 1d6? Okay, your vehicle only takes 1 point of damage. Apparently you have really good shocks on that thing.
They're off-road shocks, man. They're good. They're
good. You totally decimate this person's car. If they were in it, that's really unfortunate for them, but it was parked. Maybe they're not dead, and you no longer see your pursuers. Akron, you're heading off into this into this parallel lane, and it starts to fork off to the right. Obviously, not heading in the exact same direction as your friends.
Is there any kind of a path I can take to kind of get to loop back in their direction?
There's one up ahead. It will require you to go down, like you can see it off in the distance, like a connecting road. You'll have to travel a fair distance amount, like down this side path. So like, you will not have contact with them for a little bit, or you could turn around.
I mean, I won't have contact on the phone, or I won't have contact at all?
Well, you just will have like visual contact with them.
We don't see Akron. That might be after you.
I'm definitely going to take the side road, and I'll tell them that I'm going to meet them at the, and I'll, cite the street that I'm heading up on, where we would be meeting up again.
So behind you, Akron, you have like you have actual rear view mirrors. You don't have like a viewing system. Like behind the black smoke trailing from your vehicle, you see this SUV barrel into your lane, and it seems to be making some headway. You're a very fast vehicle, but like the traffic ahead of you is starting to funnel you to like take a slower route. One of them takes a shot at you. This is a fairly extreme distance. I think I told you the AC of your buggy.
I think I noted it down. Let me check.
If you have it noted, that would be awesome.
I'm almost positive I noted it on the actual.
I think it was 5.
1 second. Let me see here. I have the hit points are 11 out of 20. I don't think I have an AC. I thought I had the AC noted here.
I'm virtually
points, but...
virtually certain it was 5, so we'll go with that.
That's fine. I noted it now, though.
You have buggy, cost 2,500, armor 5, HP 20.
Two questions. How busy is the street and, the actual, side street activity? What are they shooting at me with? And do I get any bonus for the fact that I'm, what's the distance, I guess is the other question.
So you hear, like a high-powered rifle going off. Like a single shot. This is a really loud noise, and I came up kind of with a new system of doing things for if they can't see you in a vehicle, there's obviously a chance that it can blow through and still hit a passenger. So what I'm going to do is roll. Let's see here. You have a forward compartment a secondary passenger, a cargo compartment, and your engine.
And 4 wheels.
Yeah, and 4 wheels. Do I want to count wheels as one? You see, I don't think like if I add them to the roll, then that means there's a greater like each of the wheels. That means there's a greater chance of hitting the wheels, which I think is actually less likely.
Or you could just make it wheels.
Yeah. So we're gonna roll 1d5.
Well, from my understanding, getting shot in the wheel. Well, I guess high-powered rifle would probably blow the wheel, but like a regular gun probably wouldn't.
This is like a hunting rifle.
Yeah, that would blow it. The weapon you got right there would definitely.
And you do not have reinforced tires or anything. 1 is going to be the thing you want least to get shot, which is probably the comm server. 2 is going to be the engine. 3 is going to be the wheels. 4 is going to be you, and 5 is going to be the empty. Because I imagine you would rather take damage over any of the vital systems of your thing. So I think that's how we'll lay this out. Wow. Okay. It basically strikes you. You hear this bullet just tear through behind you, and you look back and you see like there's sunlight coming through a hole in the back of the passenger compartment, and then like another bit of sunlight from the other end.
That's
and
ride too, so
yeah, they basically just shot straight through.
I take damage to the buggy for that?
Since that was not a vital system, no.
Okay.
I'm gonna play a little bit loosely with the vehicle rules. Have not made a whole lot of sense to me, so I'm kind of in the process of reworking them.
That's cool.
To make things a little bit more sensical. So you were asking like where you are. You're basically going down a side street, and there's traffic down here. You're getting shot at from behind with a hunting rifle. Up ahead, it looks like you're going to have to stop unless you get onto the sidewalk.
I'm going to start slamming onto the PA speaker and screaming to clear the road. Terrorist attack. I'll be screaming that as I pull onto the sidewalk and keep going.
So, I knew this PA system would come in handy eventually, but this is a really inventive use for it. You slam on that, you slam on the horn, and you slide over onto the pavement, and your buggy is thin enough to where there's ample room for people to dive over if they react in time.
I'll generally try to avoid hitting people.
Yeah,
cars are screwed.
You see startled pedestrians of all sorts of races just diving out of the way. You run over like a mail droid that's like delivering a package or something, and it just gets crushed beneath your car. The car bumps up on one side for a second and then comes down. You see that the hunters that you assume are chasing you are like trying to figure out how to get around, and since you basically kind of cleared a section of the sidewalk, they're just following you. But they're definitely taking out more of the sidewalk, and they're forcing people right to the edge. I'm gonna roll a luck save to see if they don't run anybody over. Oh, that was 1d10. Oh god, they do. They hit somebody. And I think somebody gets smashed between their SUV and a car. And they're following you, but like you're definitely gaining distance now a little bit. As this is happening, you see like sirens, or you see like the blue light of flashing sirens converging onto your street behind you. People are still darting out of the way, and right as this happens, you get a flicker across your AR goggles, and like suddenly the word like danger reads onto your AR goggles. It's not like 100% there. It seems like there's some sort of corruption or something, and then like arrows start flashing on several sides, like that would normally be warning you of danger. And you lose control of the buggy. The buggy, like the steering wheel, just jerks out of your hand, and in your ear you hear Sarah's voice: "Danger, danger! Taking evasive action."
Didn't it shut off completely last time?
GM is aware of how things go.
Okay.
And like the buggy, instead of going straight down another street, it actually ramps up onto a pedestrian walkway that goes over the street. And like in an unbelievable act that you could not do yourself, it smacks into like something at just the perfect angle to set your wheels onto the railings, and you're suddenly now driving on the railings of this pedestrian walkway, and there are people flinging themselves down to the floor, like as you're driving over them, and you have absolutely no control of the vehicle, but now you're like driving 20 or 30 feet over the street.
Can you imagine the reaction of the person chasing Akron right now? What the hell?
Ray and Twitch, you seem to have lost your pursuers, but you've also lost Akron. You hear like a bunch of cursing, and like you hear the sound of a PA system shouting something about terrorists over his end of the phone.
Yeah, hell, Akron.
Do you continue on towards the warehouse, or do you try to find him?
I don't think we can help him a whole lot, so I'd probably continue on toward the warehouse and hope to meet
Probably
up there.
a smart move. Akron, how are you responding now that Sarah has taken control of the vehicle?
I am going to be, actually I'm going to see if I can run a level 1 diagnostic real quick to make sure that the connection's going to hold without interfering with Sarah, that is.
Alright, so you pop out your comm pad and you try to connect it to the comm server. Will you give me a tech save?
Would be computers or PosTech in this case?
No, tech save.
E20.
Tech save. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. Didn't know that was a thing.
And what's your number?
Let me see. I'm looking up right now.
I don't think it's 10.
Yeah, I'm
Tech
pretty sure it's
11.
14 or something. Yep. Oh. Yeah. I didn't get.
Oh, that's
this
so
by one.
unfortunate. You have such a good tech save. That's crazy that you have one at 11.
I didn't realize it was 11 either. One short.
You try to link up with it, and like you begin to, and then you notice like a bunch of artifacting on your compad screen, and then your compad just starts going haywire.
Uh-oh. Did I lose the call with Twitch, or did I still have the call with Twitch?
The call is gone.
Uh-oh.
Akron, come in.
How far until I get to the end of this railing? In that case, I'm going to probably get back on the PA speaker and just to scream to get down at this point.
Your connection with Akron Morris has been terminated.
This user is no longer available. So we see like this side view of the buggy speeding along like no human could drive this. This looks almost physically impossible. And people, like pedestrians, are pointing up at this sight like it's almost watching a train go by on tracks, except it's a wheeled buggy going along on the railings of a pedestrian walkway at like 40 or 50 miles an hour. Akron, I think you're absolutely terrified by this. Like at any moment, if the wheel turns just a little bit, you could be sent off like to the ground. But you eventually get to the end, and with a sinking feeling in your stomach, you realize that you're about to get on or off the same method that you got on, and there is a route down that is not very gradual. And the buggy just air ramps it straight off of the ramp over pedestrians who had absolutely no idea that this buggy was coming. And you fly over all these pedestrians and land with a crunch against the pavement. Will you roll 1d6?
Absolutely.
Wow, you too only take 1 damage due to your tremendous shocks. Apparently, that's really fortunate for you.
God.
These are the improved maximum edition shocks.
The entire time this is happening, you see like kind of flickering lines appearing in your augmented reality goggles that are kind of representing drive paths that Sarah is taking. And as soon as you hit the road, she starts to turn and starts calculating a new route down the city. She starts like labeling pedestrians in little orange boxes like potential threat or like caution, avoid. And the buggy is just swerving back and forth. She on the side of your goggles, you get like a blue arrow that says processing threats, and like you see like a drop down window pop up, and it starts scrolling through a list of things. If you look closer, you realize it's a list of everything that your Argus web has detected that you have on your person or in the cabin with you. It's basically a list of your inventory. It's cycling through, and it keeps selecting things, and it seems to be like searching for some method of dealing with a threat, and it comes down to your laser pistol, and it highlights it. It says counter. It comes up with counter pursuit method selected, and it like highlights your laser pistol, and it starts giving you like a please turn around.
Oh man, that is awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be surprisingly calm with Sarah driving, though nervous that the connection may short out due to the damage. But at the same time, I'm going to basically give her the positive feedback, symbol the best I can with my hand, since apparently I've got no audio, but she has no regular input, but the Argus web's still working.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately just take my laser pistol out and do exactly what Sarah says.
So you turn around and like you look outside of the like, do you want to pop one of the metal grating hatches that basically serves as kind of a window / method of getting into the compartment?
How big's the hole in the back? Is it a small bullet hole, or?
Oh, it's just a small bullet hole.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna pop a compartment then and get the gun facing behind me as fast as possible.
So you lean out, and as soon as you do, you see that there is there are a pair of gravity cycles following you. They don't look like they're police issue, and they're definitely gaining on you very quickly. One of the riders has like a kind of a rough leather jacket, and you can see the edge of a shotgun on the front of the bike. You don't have like a very good idea of what the other guy looks like. He's fairly far, not much farther away, but he's farther away than the other guy.
Victor,
and as you're looking back,
you.
You see thousands of yellow lines start to appear in your goggles, and then start to converge as obvious like trajectories onto the driver of the grav cycle that is closing in behind you. And then as they start to converge, they eventually start to turn amber and then red. And once they do, you get like an icon of your gun on your screen, and it just shows like the trigger depressing, and it says user input required.
I'm going to line up with the shot the best I can, and completely trust in Sarah as I fire the shot as she's telling me to.
All right, so the AC is 5. Roll with your normal bonus plus 5 plus an additional 5.
Oh wow, that would be, let me see here, 12 it looks like.
Oh, 1 off. You fire, and like it seems like just as you're depressing the trigger, the act of pulling the trigger actually moves your cursor just a slight bit off of the targeting reticle that is being pointed, and like it glances off this guy's helmet. As you know, as this happens, you see like another actually before that happens, the buggy takes like a sharp turn around like a corner. Like you slide like 90 degrees, and you're hanging partially out of the buggy, and your head comes dangerously close to impacting another pedestrian. You're just whipping by all this stuff going like 60 miles an hour. On your screen, it says recalculating, and then like the lines start lining up again. Are you going to try to take another shot? Like, this guy is getting very close, and he seems like he's raising his shotgun up.
Sarah still telling me to take a shot?
Yeah, the lines are turning red now, and it says user input required.
I'm going to immediately try and comply with her command again.
All right, same roll.
Akron thinks this is a terrible idea himself, but he's trusting in Sarah.
Same roll, and like as you fire, this guy fires as well.
God! I cannot get lucky. That kind of a bonus. Oh my god, my friggin' luck is horrendous.
You fire, and like it's just enough to make him duck down, and his shotgun blast just catches the side of a building. On your screen, like you see like a kind of like a processing with like calculating other alternatives, and like please re-enter the vehicle and strap in, or secure yourself.
I'm going to immediately comply with this command and make a mental note to myself that I'm going to need some serious upgrades myself.
You get a meatbag unable to cope with program.
So you get into the vehicle, like you haven't been looking about what's in front of you this entire time, and you turn back around, and I think you're so focused on putting your seatbelt on and your restraints, like you're getting like a little fasten seatbelt sign on your AR goggles. Once you fasten it up, you look up, and directly outside of the front windscreen, you see a mag train, like 30 feet off to your, like in front of you, and just a little bit off to your right, and the engine is just gunning it straight for the front of the mag train.
I think I'm going to just look at the situation and realize that if I hit the train, it won't matter, and so I'll try to calmly tell Sarah that I will upgrade these deficiencies when we return to the warehouse. As we're running towards the train. Good luck. I'm pretty much in my head.
So, you see like calculations on your goggles of like it zooms out and it shows a city map, and it shows your street and another street running parallel to the track here, and it shows your course, and it shows like the course of your pursuers, and it shows like miles per hour for you and your pursuers, and then the train, and it seems like all this complex math is happening at once, and like it's all coming down to like one point of convergence, and you're just like you're bracing yourself, and as soon as you get to the track, Sarah turns the vehicle like 90 degrees and starts bolting up like the track itself, heading away from the train, and you suddenly realize what she is trying to do, and like you probably believe you're going to die, and like built into the math there is just enough time for acceleration that like you don't see what happens to the grav cycles, but you feel like a tremendous crunch against the back of your vehicle, and the vehicle is pushed, and like there's this honking, or like, you know, there's basically a train horn from back behind you, and we just see this picture of the buggy riding the front of the mag train through the designated train area, heading down southeast of Centron City. And you absolutely lose your pursuers.
Holy crap!
So, roughly 30 minutes later, Twitch, Ray,
just out of curiosity, was there anybody driving the grav train?
It doesn't have a windscreen that you can see through. Actually, you know what? Just for this scene, we'll say yeah, there was, and the person who was looking at you like down from the window was just absolutely just like stunned imagine that scene from Mission Impossible where Tom Cruise is stuck to the rear of the train, and it's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of thinking that would be like.
So 30 minutes later, Ray, Twitch, and Phrixus, you're all waiting in the warehouse. Like, you've pulled the Jeep in, but you've got the door open, and you're all kind of like, milling about the ramp. So you're kind of in the warehouse, but also in the parking lot. And from around the corner, you hear the sound of Acheron's buggy, but the engine doesn't sound terribly great, and it obviously sounds a little bit sick. And from around the corner, you see like this utterly bashed to hell buggy just puttering around, and it eventually kind of pulls up into the warehouse, and it's got like this large bullet hole like exit from one side. The smoke it seems to be less visible, like it seems to have dispersed a bit, and the vehicle finally pulls in, and it shuts down, and Acheron like pops the hatch and just flops out, like breathing hard.
Where the hell were they, Acheron?
Acheron's gonna catch his breath, and before he even says anything, immediately go to the back of the buggy and open the comm server panel to check for damage. And then he'll explain.
It's definitely been shot by a shotgun, but it's still partially active.
You look down and you pull a couple shotgun pellets out of the hard drive.
Yeah, like, that scene from A New Hope where Luke is like getting dust and grime from R2-D2? Very similar to that. Like, maybe you pull out like a multi-tool, and you're actually kind of jamming it in there and digging a few of these pellets out. It looks like it can be repaired, but like it took some sort of damage, and you can't see how it would have kept on functioning. The only thing that occurs to your mind is maybe Sarah rerouted some things, but that seems like it might have taken more like initiative than she should have.
Definitely going to see if I can check a data log later. I'll make a note to do that, and I'm probably going to put the comm server upstairs and try to see if I can establish enough of a connection to say that I'll be getting repair parts, and that I'll be keeping it in low power mode and won't be pushing it today until I can get the parts to fix it.
Who the hell was chasing you?
I'm gonna probably turn to you guys and ask Twitch the same question, because I'm gonna say I thought they were rival hunters looking to get that score we just lined up.
So that might be, but they seemed most interested in you.
I'm gonna shake my head and say there were 3 more vehicles that joined the chase. I don't think that was the situation anymore. We should check the news in a few hours. The police were alerted, and there was quite a bit of noise about terrorists on a couple roads.
God.
So,
we should get a bumper sticker for Acheron that says like I take the situation to the next level.
And then beyond. So, it's late in the day, and you have had the busiest day that you can remember. This is probably even more physically and emotionally draining as like the day where you took that train ride and nearly got killed by a comet and then got into a gunfight at the station. Like, this obviously rivals that. You took out several creatures in one park. No, that was a different day. You played hide and go seek with a deadly scorpion in a building that collapsed around you. Several like shadow raptors almost killed you, and then there was this chase. Acheron, you were especially on edge.
I'm kind of the opinion of the it's a car chase. I fought a giant scorpion today. Well, the car chase is nothing, right? Gonna sit back with a beer and go like, oh God. Well, at least we're getting paid. We did get paid, right? Did you guys check that? Please tell me we got paid.
Like, yes, Twitch, we got paid.
Oh, good.
Background's going to shoot Twitch.
And now we need to spend several hundred credits on vehicle repairs as I look over the vehicles and notice many bullet holes.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it looks like
interject and say we need to do more than repair these things. If our luck continues and we keep certain people, and I'm going to glance at Twitch for a moment around, then we're going to need to be ready for it.
I'd be looking at yourself there, Acheron. They were after you, so you did something. That was questionable along the way.
I haven't done anything warranting that level of response, but we certainly know that they've been after Twitch for a while.
Ray's thinking to herself, man, what kind of crew did I get involved with? I guess.
So, who wants Scorpion?
Yeah, there's that
Scorpio claw.
There's that huge claw, and you see Phyrexius pulling it down from the back of the Jeep. And he's looking around.
How would we even do that?
He was he just says, I thought we could put it in the office.
Oh yeah, the shell of it, but I want to know what Scorpion tastes like.
He looks a little bit green at that.
You can have it, I think.
So.
You can have it, Twitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hook up some Scorpion and see what that tastes like.
It
Assuming the Xenox doesn't tell me anything about poisonous claws or something. I imagine the snake is poisonous.
Claw meat is highly toxic.
So the rest of the evening, the warehouse is partially filled with the smells and sound of searing giant cremvore meat. What is everybody else doing? Acheron, I know you're trying to assess the damage to your vehicle. Maybe you're getting in touch with Marcus and asking if maybe you could talk to his contact and see if he knows anybody who could help you.
Oh yeah, my first priority will be to order any parts that I think I'm gonna need to absolutely bring the comm server back to 100%, and then I'm gonna immediately look into making the vehicle a safer place.
Yeah, so comm server parts are pretty cheap. Just put out like 50 or I guess like 60 creds.
Okay. I'm also gonna try to talk to Ray at some point when I get a chance.
Ray is stowing in her new samples.
Yeah.
For later analysis, like
you got some
some
interesting samples.
Or maybe deep freezing storage. I don't know what I have, but I have some kind of fridge or freezer thing.
And I'm gonna bring up before everything happened. You know, there was a pretty good line on the biggest score we could possibly get from the zoo. Enough that we might be able to make this whole mess worth it.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
The Yarble?
Yeah, I have a line. I'm going to say that I have a line on the Yarble, and I'm going to explain that I also have a line on something else you might be interested in.
Oh.
But it'll mean going outside of the zoo's plan a little bit.
Ray's eyes narrow a bit at you. That would depend on what it is.
I'm going to hold my hand up, and I'm going to say, now you have to hear me completely out, because you're probably not going to like the first part of this.
Oh boy, Ray goes through Ray's head.
And can we
Alright,
have this?
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna pause for a second. Can we have this conversation, like you guys talking in the like the main office, and then, or like maybe the kitchen area at like the kitchen table, and then beside you, Twitch is like cooking up this lobster, or not lobster, scorpion.
Fun.
I imagine it'd be very much like lobster at that kind of size. Could be wrong, but I'll find out.
You take a taste of it. It tastes like ultra lobster combined with chicken.
That's hard to think about, but it sounds good to me.
So we just look over. We look over at.
Wait till this is done. You gotta try this. I mean,
we look over at Twitch,
odd,
and he's got like the biggest pot of boiling water ever, and he's just dropping chunks.
Yep. I think this is actually something that that like might normally use for your lab equipment, but he maybe managed to borrow it from you. It's like that big.
Or my mega beakers or something.
So yeah, I'm gonna just kind of lean back for a second and say you don't like the. I'm guessing you're not a big fan of black market animal trades, are you?
He just gives you a flat look.
I'm gonna
Victor,
produce my.
we are not selling the Yarble on the black market.
I'm gonna produce
You mean
my.
Akron?
Yeah, I'm sorry, my bad.
It's fine. I'm gonna pull out my tablet and I'm
At
going
least I didn't call him Recon.
pass it over to Ray, and I'm gonna say, well, you see, there happens to be a black market trader in town that is actually looking for a Yarble, but I'm thinking that we still want to. I'm gonna put back a Twitch and say I'm not going to sell the Yarble to those people, but I'm thinking we could use it to potentially clean them out. The zoo would probably like some new specimens that this person may have. And then I'm going to try to show them any bio on the person that I found, which I believe you would actually
You do realize that if the Yarble dies, we get nothing.
I'm going to glance up and say, if the Yarble dies, we'll all probably be dead too, so it won't matter all that much to you. Or to any of us.
So you're bringing up data on the person who you would tentatively contact about the illegal auction / buy?
The scummiest one that would be interested in the Yarble.
Yeah.
How close is Akron watching me with his datapad?
It's just my data pad, but I mean, I probably have it mostly locked off, but, like anything secure. You're probably just on, like, the regular, surface level. User level, not admin level.
Well, you handed me your datapad, right? Do you keep yourself on the user level?
Oh, I mean, it's like on the web browser right now. It's not like it's, you know, if you started going into, like, my system files, I'd probably be, a little alarmed. But, I mean, if you're just, like, browsing
Well,
the
I
web
just look like I'm looking at the entry you gave me.
Yeah, that's fine. You can look at any part of it that way.
But I'm actually looking through his other files.
If you try to do that, you start, like, you actually get into one of his folders, and then you're tapping on it, and then, like, you know, you keep tapping, and then you're wondering if, like, the touch screen has just stopped working. It seems like it's no longer working for you.
Plus, I'm thinking I'd kind of notice it. I'm not sure if you've ever, like, you know, used a tablet but somebody can't see it. It's pretty obvious when you're, like, browsing the web versus, like, going through contacts or something.
So the woman that you're kind of setting up as your potential target is one Evelyn Drake, and she is a wealthy socialite in Centron City, one of the wealthier ones. And she seems to be in like, when you do a search for her in general, it's hard to actually figure out how she got her money. She's known throughout the city, like, you know, in kind of the upper tier circles, but she's not known as you know, like, she owns the steel company, or she's a importer of exotic goods or anything like that. It just seems that she's wealthy, and she owns, like, the some of the upper floors on one of the towers in downtown Centron City. You can't get a whole lot of, like, basic information beyond that, except that she's kind of this attractive human in her probably early 50s. Like, it's hard to tell with modern medicine in the 3200s just how old somebody is. Like, she could be considerably older. And she's got dark hair with, you know, some strands of steel through it, and she just kind of looks like a strong, confident woman in all the photos and videos that you find of her in your search. Nothing kind of leads you to believe that she would be the one to like orchestrate some sort of black market animal dealing, but this is definitely who you managed to backtrack this inquiry about the pink Yarble into. And you would definitely know that she would have more than enough money to buy something like this.
going to basically say that I even have a basic idea for how to pull this out. Once we get our hands on the Yarble, I'm going to motion to Twitch.
That's
Twitch
a big
here.
question as it is already.
I'll motion to Twitch and say, Twitch here can be the one to contact her in the end in the offer the sale. I'll put my second Argus web on him so we get a good intel when he goes in with the Yarble, and with hopefully Max, which he can deploy somewhere in the building. And then the two of us can come in and quote-unquote hit the thing in the middle of the deal, take the Yarble back, any other animals that she might have, possibly some extra cash, and then the zoo gets them all.
You assume that she's going to have us meet in the place where the animals are, and you also seem to assume that she won't have enough backup to protect said animals.
I'm also with Phrixus and you guys, armed with our stun weapons. I think we could probably pull this off.
I think that is unnecessarily dangerous, and if we get the Yarble, we should just turn it in for the flat-out price.
Twitch, what do you think? You're kind of a shady sort. You've been involved in some illegal dealings in the past. Is this a plan that you could get behind with a few tweaks, or is this just asking for trouble? The
Personally,
potential payoff
I think the both of you seem to be in enough trouble as it is.
All the more reason to get in some more before we kick this planet.
It seems to me that we already have quite a bit of money on the line at the Yarble anyways. I don't think that it would be a great plan, simply because it puts the money we could get at risk, and on top of that, there's no guarantee that we could actually get away with selling the creatures she has to the zoo. You assume that they actually want more creatures and are willing to pay for them.
I'll motion to him and say, I can make a few calls, and if not this zoo, I'm sure that we can find a way to offload them.
At the very least...
Not to mention that any creatures she would have are probably stolen as well. I don't know where they'd be from, but... At
the very least, it does sound, at least one part of his plan does sound like it would work. You would potentially double your money from the Yarble, from selling it to her and then stealing it back and basically selling it back to the zoo for the bounty. That's not really a question. Like, if as long as she's on the up and up on the trade and doesn't try to pull something on you, which it doesn't seem like that's necessarily the sort of thing that happens in every black market animal deal. His plan at least has that going for it. But there are, a lot of unknown factors. It would require some scoping out, some investigation, definitely some preparation, that sort of thing.
Where did you find information about this deal, anyway?
I'm going to point out that I've got contacts online, but I never talk about my contacts, at least in detail. It's always good to know what's going on around the city, especially with people shooting at us.
It does have, I will admit, the plan has potential. I'm just not sure it's worth the risks to 30,000 credits, which is a sizable chunk toward what I assume we'll be probably buying a ship eventually.
I'm going to motion and say that 60,000 credits, perhaps we could get a decent ship haul to start
yes,
working on.
Akron, but you're talking about 60,000 maybe versus 30,000 for sure if we captured it, which is still a question mark in the air also.
Not to mention, we still have to actually capture the Yarble in the first place.
I'll point to the refrigerator and say, I've got a plan for taking care of the Yarble, but we will go out of our way to ensure its safety if you're on board, Ray.
I'm all for selling it back to the zoo, so
as a
if
side
we even
note,
catch
it's
it.
the last pink Yarble. Are there non-pink Yarbles?
Yeah, they're normally brown.
If you look up online, like apparently there are species of Yarbles that inhabit other planets, but apparently this moon of this gas giant is known for these pink Yarbles, and this moon suffered some sort of catastrophe, and their species went extinct. So it's like kind of a subspecies of the Yarble species.
I'm gonna look at Ray and say, well, there we go. We have another plan. Once we get our hands on the Yarble, we secure it firmly here in the warehouse. And we get a bag of hair dye for a regular Yarble for the deal.
Akron. No. Just no.
I love it so much. Please do it.
I'm perfectly fine with this conniving plan. We get paid twice in this plan, and we still get the guaranteed pay for the first Yarble.
Ray is just sitting at the desk with a hand pressed to her head.
Hey, I point to my hair. That dye has any color, right?
Oh my god. Okay, so the rest of the evening passes as you guys are plotting and scheming. Twitch, you finally taste your steamed / boiled giant Kremvor young.
I think I steamed some of it and I seared another part like a steak.
Yeah. It's pretty good, and I think
you guys need
it
to try
tastes
this.
all the better knowing that it was trying to kill you only hours earlier. Like, I think there's a moment where you guys look over.
Revenge.
You look over and you see Twitch has a bit of it on his fork, and he's just like smirking at it, like take that, you fucker. Yeah, and that's how the rest of the evening goes. Phrixus eventually leaves. Like, anytime he's looked at for his opinion on the plan, he shrugs his shoulders like he's really out of his depth. He'll just go along with whatever you guys decide. The next morning, we pick up.
It?
Did anybody else try the Kremvor? Is anybody else infected with the giant Kremvor young?
You know what? I'd probably stick with my Instaburgers actually over the giant Kremvor.
The Instaburgers. You just go to your little cubby in your pressure tent, pull out another Instaburger.
I'm getting my revenge on the Kremvor now, but later it'll get its revenge on me again. So
explosive diarrhea.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the next morning, Ray and Akron, you wake up to find that the hall bathroom is definitely already occupado, and Twitch has apparently been in there for a few hours.
Oh God.
You
guys can just shut up now, okay? Don't want to hear it.
Have you need of medications? I might be able to whip something up to stiffen up your bowels a little bit.
That might be good, but I don't want to hear it, okay?
I didn't say anything.
I'm sure somewhere Marcus is just like shaking his head in the corner of the warehouse as he hears this conversation. So today,
I
totally
give him some kind of medication.
Sure wonderful. Lobster does the same thing to me, and I still eat it.
What are you guys wanting to do? I know what Akron wants to do, at least partially. You want
we have spent the last couple times doing my goals. Someone else could have a chance.
I think we're all behind picking up the real pink Yarble, no matter what the follow-up plan is.
So Akron, do you want to organize the kind of the operation to go pick up the pink Yarble and on the way drop off your buggy for upgrades?
Yeah, if I can access Marcus's contact, I'm totally gonna stop by.
Yeah, like this morning, there's a message waiting for you from a friend of a friend, quote unquote. I believe. Did I write? If I didn't write his name down, I'm gonna be mad.
Do you spend all of your time in your room?
I'm gonna kind of look at him and think for a
I'm
second.
not asking you in
reply.
character. I'm asking you out of character.
Oh, yeah. My character spends a lot of time on his sitting in a corner on his AR goggles, typing wildly into it. Not all the time. I mean, I go out to get my fast food, but an abnormally large amount of time.
At one of those moments when you go out to get your fast food, Ray sneaks into your room.
You're gonna go in my pressure tent.
Yeah. So How are you going about this, Ray? You just like looking around, and then when you don't see that you're being noticed, you just kind of like fall into his room.
Slip into Akron's room.
Okay, give me a stealth roll.
Oh, untrained stealth.
Because there are other people in the warehouse. All right. We'll see how that goes. What are you doing in his room?
Looking for like loose pamphlets of paper, sticky notes, trying to figure out who his contacts are.
I don't keep physical notes. It just doesn't seem like it would be in character. Almost everything's digital for me.
I was about to say, I can't imagine Akron interacting with paper.
Okay. Yes, I'm attempting.
What do you have in your room, Akron? Aside from a shelf of Instaburgers and like like I think there's a box of parts that look like they're from like a light drive that are in the corner. How on earth did he get those? What else do you have in there?
Aside from like a few spike drive parts and other crap like that, I've got my whole bunch of assorted random components and stuff. It looks like they came from various places. I've got the comm server hooked back up in there now on the desk. Let me see here. I got of course, my pressure tent takes up most of the room. I probably got a crappy beanbag chair inside the pressure. Lots of wrappers of Instaburgers and their equivalents. I'm assuming there's Insta Tacos in this world and stuff.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. You've got your comm server now unloaded from the vehicle and on your kind of work desk in your room. It looks like you walk into the room, Ray, and there's like a panel open. It looks like he's in the process of repairing some things. It's obviously plugged into the wall. Like you can hear kind of a low hum. And there's this moment where you're looking about and then you look at it and you see just kind of like this black glass circle on it. And you know that this is the optical array for this thing. And I think there's just like a moment where you look at this thing and you feel really uncomfortable.
Okay.
Like Sarah is supposedly in the comm server, and you're poking around in Akron's room, and if she can use this thing to project holograms, then who knows what she can actually see in the room.
I don't pay attention to it.
Okay.
One second here.
So, I guess I'm attempting untrained hacking of his terminal, random guessing passwords or something.
Yeah, give me a computers roll. Are you trying to hack into the comm server?
Whatever computer Akron tends to use.
You have a data slab in there, right?
Guessing
Akron?
he has a computer.
I usually carry my data slab around on me as like a kind of a shell for Sarah, but
yeah, that's like equivalent of a laptop. So I guess if you have that, what are you doing at this moment, Akron?
I could be down in the maybe looking at the buggy or something along those lines.
Maybe you're on the compad actually like talking to the person we're gonna get to in a second about like the upgrades you want.
Yep, but if you're wondering why there's not more like I don't know extra stuff around my room aside from junk parts and wrappers, that's kind of what I picture me looking like most of the time, sitting on my beanbag chair in my pressure tent. So
that's pretty sparse in here, is what you're saying.
Just pretty much wrappers and computer parts and electronic parts. That's pretty much.
So if you're trying to hack into the comm server, give me a computers roll. This will not. This won't really be an easy check, but now you.
Now you roll it.
Ooh.
For 10.
Ooh, that's enough. Yeah. Apparently he left it in some sort of diagnostic mode, and
Akron's like, no way. Why would I do that?
And it's like he's apparently in the process of repairing this thing, and he's doing a diagnostic to see how his repairs are taking. And yeah, you have access to the comm server.
All right, so I'm looking at like call logs, transit receipts, stuff like that.
Akron
says he never reveals his contacts, but that's.
I have an important question for you.
Sure.
Would you intentionally have Sarah, like, do you tell her to back up all of your information separately? Because your calls do not come in through the comm server when it's not coming from one of your party members. So it would actually be coming from the network in the city. The only way his calls would be on there is if they were backed up. Do you tell Sarah to back up your information? Like, you never know when you might need it, just like call logs and stuff, or?
I do physical backups. In fact, I made a note of that somewhere. I'm guessing I'd probably physically back up anything
you said
from
you
the data server.
Backed up her.
Yeah, from her, the comm server. Basically, I guess it'd be all of her. But with the phones, probably not. Definitely, probably not on that. Speaking of which, if you dig around in my bag of parts, I don't know if you would. I probably would have my backups, like physical backups, in a small fireproof box or something.
So you're searching through the computer, and you have like a really good access to it. You see like the information that's on the surface. Like there's all of the information that's been routed through the comm server. And then there is a giant chunk of the comm server, like 85% of it, that is running a program.
Oh, you know what? There might also be contact information for Bakrin in there.
But Ray is not really trained in computers, so that might not look odd to her. She might note that's a big program.
Like,
but
yeah, I guess if you're not trained in computers, you're just like task manager. Ooh, this thing's eating up a lot.
That's using a lot, but I have no idea what that is.
.sa AI is. But on the surface,
background from the server though, so background information may be on there. Just letting you know, Star.
Yeah. Any contacts you've made outgoing, from like the server itself, that could probably be there. So you see the information. It seems like messages were sent to one of the orbital stations, addressed to somebody, or an address called ARA 187. And there's been
187.
There's been the occasional message sent or received from there. And I think it occurs to you like there's kind of a lack of like outgoing and incoming calls. Like this has to only basically be storing the things that are going on between you guys. Like you can see every single time that you guys have communicated between the three of you or the four of you. So
Akon makes more communications than that.
Do you do anything else, or do you close it up?
I don't think I have a super huge amount of time, so I'd probably close up and pretend like nothing happened.
Yeah. All right. So downstairs, Akron, you've gotten in contact with the friend of Marcus's, like arms dealer contact, who himself was recommended to you by a friend of Oliver. I thought his name was Ixaris, but that might have been a star system. I didn't write it down that time. It doesn't really matter. This new guy is a human, and his name is Landon. Like you're put in touch with him, and he's apparently like kind of the go-to mechanic for like high price private jobs that may or may not be legal. And you want to tell him what you're trying to, like, you obviously tell him that you need to get your buggy fixed up, and then like he sounded kind of bored when you're telling him that, like that's kind of the job of a normal mechanic. And then you get into your upgrades. What are, for the benefit of the group, can you tell us what you're kind of proposing?
I'm gonna hand him a paper.
Well, you're just talking to him over the compad right now.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'm gonna upload you a quick quick document of what I'm
Hold
thinking,
on, let me
if
send
give
you a
me an invoice.
fax.
And then I'm going to send him an email that's going to contain the following items on it that I'm looking for an invoice pricing on: EMP shielded compartments, transmission signal boosters, a flame defense system for the sides of the buggy, a buggy smoke bomb with smoke grenades hooked to the rear of the car, and a remote control pin, a backup ignition in case of an EMP attack due to having an ice engine, armor plating with for the driver or passenger side, the engine, extreme armor plating with EMP shielding around the comm server compartment, reinforced frame and shocks. And one thing I was going to ask you about, Star, is that they have reinflatable tires in this world since they have instaflatable burgers?
Jesus Christ. Are you building a tank or a buggy, Agron?
They basically have run flats. They obviously can only take so much damage before there's just not enough mass there to keep going, but you've got some that can be shot and either keep running or patch themselves temporarily.
Oh, and then while I'm still on the phone with them, I'm going to say, oh, I forgot to add the sunroof.
In your mind, Agron, you see numbers flash by. Armor increase equals speed decrease.
That's why I'm trying to armor only like key areas around like the pilot, the engine, and the comm server component rather than the whole vehicle.
It's a buggy. That's basically all there is to the compartments.
Yeah, might not do it all, so that's why I was kind of putting out an estimate. I'll also ask if they have any specials to let me know.
So, he's definitely getting into it as you're reading off this list. Like, he seemed to like the extreme modifications to stuff. At one point, he's like, "You're sure you don't want hydraulics with that?" But
I've always said no, but I could go for a tow cable.
Yeah, he'll add that to the list.
Agron, you need to go. Nope, yep. Tell I need the jump hydraulics. Go with this.
But when you get to the flame stuff, he is super psyched out. He's like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I heard they did that on some of the Outworld systems. I can see that being a little bit of a problem, given that you're trying to make the car more resistant to damage, though. I don't know that we want to add more combustibles. I've got an idea, though, that I've been wanting to try. How do you feel about electricity?"
I'm going to smile and say I feel very good about electricity.
So he laughs.
Tesla buggy is born.
And he says, "Yeah, I think I can rig up something that you might approve of." Out of game, I am going through his list right now and trying to come up with what is feasible and what the prices might be are. Some of this stuff is like, basic. He tells you that you can certainly get it, like the backup and ignition and the tires. The armoring is something that he specializes in. He does tell you that it will affect the performance of the vehicle a little bit, but he strongly recommends armoring it. He's like, "I've got mine armored." Apparently, he's like, for those drives through the Dijak district, this is absolutely essential. Run flats. Armor. Okay. He tells you that he wants you to like. You were recommended to him by by a friend. He trusts that you're
recommended to him, and then you cut out.
Can you hear me now? You there?
Uh-oh.
Anybody there?
Yes.
Whoop! Now you came back. You lose them two guys, or was it on my end?
Nope, I think it's just you.
You're in, yeah.
Oh, hey,
Sorry
Reckless.
about that. Hey, Reckless.
Howdy.
He tells you that since you're a friend, he trusts that you're good for the money, so he's not gonna talk about payment just up front. He doesn't even really know how much all this is gonna run because he's got to look at your specific vehicle. He hears that you have a rather unique one. He tells you, like, he gives you directions, like he sends you a little message packet containing GPS coordinates to his shop. It's actually not too far away. It's somewhat north of here in the industrial area. He says just drop the vehicle off. Let me have it for a few days. I'll see what I might be able to do. I might even be able to get in touch with you later today and give you a quote, and we'll go from there.
Before I hang up, I'm going to say asking for a friend. How much would it be to mount a roof-mounted net launcher onto a 4-seater?
Roof-mounted. What kind of 4-seater?
Jeep.
Does it have a roof? In game? No, it doesn't.
Okay. That case I'm gonna say...
You should be aware of, though, it does have that pop-out side seat that could mount a some sort of gyroscopic mount.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'll change what I said to that then. Sorry, I had that wrong idea on the Jeep.
All right.
Yeah, I'll definitely say how much would that be?
If it's anything like the model that I'm thinking of, that's a pretty distinctive model. I could do that for, say, 400 credits. It'll be a stabilized mount. You should be able to mount a net gun onto it. Like he talks to you and like you get the feeling that he's skirting the limit. Like he's not going to say that you can mount a machine gun to it if you want, but he says.
But this mount is similar in weight and size too.
It'll be versatile, and you can mount many sizes and shapes of net guns. I'm
going to say that I'm going to get back with him on that. I definitely want the rest, but I'm going to talk to my friend about that, and then I will definitely bring that up to Ray after.
So this would be a generic gunnery weapon, quote mount.
Kind of, yeah, pretty much. Like it might not be able to take some of the bigger shit, but
you can't.
But like you could fit a machine gun.
You could.
Yeah, I'll definitely bring that up to Ray after the phone call.
Or a net gun, but not a rail gun or a plasma cannon.
You Akron things up. Where is Ray anyway?
Yeah, that's probably how I'll bump into Ray now. I'll probably be looking for you to tell you about the net gun deal.
So you run into each other in the hallway. You inform her of the net gun deal. What do you think about putting a mount on the Jeep?
Ray 100% approves of a mount on the pop out. She's thinking, I could capture so many little creatures with that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I've got a list here. I'll get to you on the price, but we can just say it's being handled today. You make plans to drop the car off later today, or the buggy. So in your other objective, how are you planning about going about the Pink Yarble escapade? Do you get everybody into the office, like the little boardroom thing, and like sit them down and tell you exactly what you know, and like go over a plan, or just like say pile into the car, we're gonna go get it?
I think we should maybe call a briefing out in the garage or something. Maybe have a little holo board up.
Okay.
I have my holo projector for my data pad, bringing up a little map for us.
Well, as soon as you do that, like you see Max kind of scuttling by, and you realize that Max has his high quality holo display on. Like, do you ask Max to stand in?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll totally probably holler over to Twitch and ask if I can get access to Max's holo feed to put the images up there.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Max climbs up onto the. Like, you guys have several tables just lying about in the warehouse for disassembling your guns or parts of the vehicles. He hops up onto one of them, stands in the middle, and then just starts projecting said images.
I'm going to explain about the woman that currently has the Pink Yarble.
Yes, I think I gave you a name for her. Looking for it.
Too, and I'm looking for it as well. I knew I noted it down. Now I'm having trouble finding where I noted it, so I'm looking for it.
That would be Vinca Relat.
I'm going to explain that I don't suspect that this person that has it is going to be trouble, but we don't want to scare them off in case,
Wait. She doesn't have the Yarble, does she? We have to find it.
So this is the woman that I have a lead on that may actually have the Yarble.
Do you explain like all the details that you were given, or about her, or what?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to explain the details about her to pretty much.
But not how you got them.
Exactly.
Okay. It turns out that this I'll speak for Akron and give you kind of a brief. It turns out that this is a woman who works at the zoo, and has not shown up for work in several days, and one of the zoo officials has reason to believe that she may have the pink Yarble. Do you show them the clip that you have, Akron?
Yeah, I'll show them the clip.
There's definitely some grainy security footage. You see like trees being blown around in the distance and rain everywhere. And the timestamp indicates that this is actually the day of the comet impact. You see a short kind of mousy-haired young woman, like maybe in her late 20s, with a kind of like a white lab coat on, running into the interior of the zoo from outside, and she's got a small animal bundled up in her arms, and it is almost definitely the pink Yarble.
I'm gonna motion to Twitch and say, you're gonna, if we can do this the way I'm thinking, you could be the recon man, and I'm gonna hand you some papers that I printed out that look like menus. I'm gonna say that basically you'll be going and dropping these off at each door, so you can get a good look at her place up close without arousing suspicion, and see if you can see any signs of the Yarble. And then we'll have to make our move. And then I'm going to tap a barrel of berries that I have with me, and point out that these have trank in them, and they're selected to be the Yarble's favorite.
So
can
Phrixus just kind of looks to all of you like, you know, what are you going to decide?
I'd want to do a medical check of these berries to make sure he hasn't like overdone the trank or something that would kill it.
Yeah, so you want to get your bioscanner out and just kind of scan the berries.
Probably gonna snap my finger and say absolutely. I am entirely all right with that. You have more experience in these matters, and
it seems like it's been dispersed enough that it'd probably knock out a person. If the Yarble that you come across is in a weakened state, like if they're injured or sick or something, it might not be a great idea. But if it's a healthy Yarble, it will probably survive this. You may have to give it some attention if things go poorly, like if it eats too much of it. But a couple of these things should definitely knock it out.
I'll definitely say that I'll defer to Ray's experience in these matters, but it seems like there's no good way to capture it, given its intelligence and size and...
I'm not sure I would say that. We do have the Xenoballs, we have net launchers. I can probably grab it with telekinesis if it comes down to that. I don't think capturing it would be the problem.
I'll nod and say that we'll pick up some cages on the way out.
Particularly since if someone already has it, depending on how she keeps it, it may already be captured, per se.
I'd be more worried about, this person standing, probably has personal security guards, that type of thing. I don't... the authorities might get involved. I glance at Twitch. You've had issues with this?
Do you remember all of the details that I gave you last time, Akron? Or do you need me to fill in some things?
I noted them down and I cannot find my notes. I think it was because I was at the other house.
All right, so I'm thinking this is stuff that you would bring up in regards to her concern. She is not a rich woman. She is an assistant. So assuming that she has bodyguards is probably out of the realm of possibility, unless she is just expecting trouble. The authorities have already been involved. They've been called to her residence and were unable to get in touch with her. So if it seems like, you know, they're not exactly wired to this woman. If like it's not like you any sort of contact with her would absolutely entrust like police.
I'm going to point out to Ray that we can't Xenodex this thing if we capture it until after we've looked at our backup option, even if we put the Yarble back safely in the warehouse.
So what is the plan here? Are you guys going to head out to this woman's apartment? That's basically kind of the only lead you have on her.
Complex, or we didn't just know where she lives?
You know where she lives. Akron was given an address.
Yep, I've got the address and everything.
I don't see what going door to door is going to help us with.
Door to door? You know where she lives.
That's what he was talking about a minute ago.
Oh, I was just gonna send Twitch up looking like he was one of those people that drops off menus to get a look at her place before we all went up.
I don't think that's gonna give me. That'll give me a look at like what the building is like. That won't give me her place per se.
I think he's trying to get at if she opens the door and she has people inside, you might see that.
That's what I was thinking along those lines.
We could try.
But yeah, we could.
Personally, when I answer the door, I don't exactly swing it wide open.
We could all go up together. Just I'm thinking it might be a bit more intimidating.
Oh, I don't think we want to go together if you're going for that plan.
I'll motion to you guys and ask how you want to approach this woman.
Your plan?
Say we need to get our hands in the Yarble somehow. So I'll motion to Ray and ask if she wants to drive.
Oh, we don't need to. I mean, we could also get another job. We could, we got this security thing going. There's always options there.
It does pay well, though.
Somebody certainly had a change of heart, like, this is a rare creature. Let's capture it. And as soon as it comes out that somebody might have it, like, oh, nope.
Well, it's more like, we've gotten into enough trouble with the authorities recently.
Akron will tell you that this person illegally has this creature. So, like, with this video evidence, you would know that like she couldn't just claim that you guys are stealing something of hers.
Yeah, if anything, she's the one that get in trouble. The second part of the operation isn't strictly legal, but the first part of the operation is.
So, the first thing first is to go check out the building. If it's got any surveillance, perhaps Victor or perhaps Akron could tap into that. And if she's got cams on her house, that would be a lot easier. If she doesn't, which she might not, being as she is housing a illegal creature, I'd say that is step one.
How far is her apartment from our place?
It's about 30 minutes, but it'll take about 45 if you go and you drop off your buggy first.
I meant in kilometers specifically, if I have any contact with the comm server during that time or not.
Oh, it would definitely be within comm server range.
Okay, I figure it's probably still in diagnostic mode, so I'm not going to have like all of its features online by any means, but I'll just probably keep up.
Well, notably when it's in diagnostic mode, it's not got its broadcast on. Do you want to take it out of diagnostic and turn the broadcast on?
No, I'll leave it in diagnostic, and I'll just take my data pad with me and try to use that to hack into the system the old-fashioned way.
All right. So you guys want to head out and then drop Akron's buggy off first on the way?
I suppose so.
But how long it would take him to bolt on the thing to the four-wheeler? Could probably do it while we're there.
You drive up and inquire of this. You basically you get to a neighborhood that it looks fairly residential, but there's definitely one section of the neighborhood that's got like small stores, like in small like automated factories here and there. One of them you pull up to. It's a fairly kind of standard mechanics workshop from the outside. You've got a couple cars out front, and you see a grav car on a lift inside, and a fairly unassuming man comes out and introduces himself as Landon. He's actually he's probably in his mid to late 20s. He's got like shaved red hair and kind of like a red stubble goatee. And he's really enthusiastic about the buggy. As soon as he sees it, like he's like, oh, this is awesome. You comment that you know, can we get the mount put in on the Jeep, and he gets pretty excited just seeing this particular model of Jeep because it has the specific like passenger pod that kind of extends. He tells you no way. It's got to be fitted properly, got to be balanced, got to reinforce things, and got to make sure the gyros all work. That'll be like a day's work.
I think I'll nod, look to Ray, and say, think we want to take care of that in a day or two then?
Well, we need the buggy for now. We gotta have at least one vehicle.
Yes, I'm gonna thank him and say that we'll definitely be bringing the Jeep back, but we need to make use of it today.
He comments like the bullet holes everywhere, and like he's just like, oh yeah, I see we're going with the usual, and he yells and he's like, Mickey, a number 3, and some guy from the inside like holds up a metal buffer, and he's like, got it, boss.
Out of curiosity, is there any footage of my crazy buggy ride on the news, given how ludicrous that was?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Are you gonna point that out and like brag to him?
No,
that,
I'm not gonna
you?
point it out. I'm just gonna kind of look at it and figure that he'll probably put 2 and 2 together before this is over, and then trust him to keep his mouth shut, given his reference.
Yeah, the guy who referenced him says he's highly professional. So you guys jump back into the Jeep and head out. Does anybody need to take like a 2-minute break here?
That would be cool, yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Like not a long break, just bathroom if anybody needs to go or grab a drink or something.
Bathroom and maybe grab a plate of food, but
as long as it's not a 15-minute plate of food like last time.
Well, it's already. I just might have to microwave it for a minute.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so
I gotta say, putting a microwave and a mini fridge next to my desk was the best option ever.
I do have a mini fridge, but not a microwave.
We'll take a 5, and we'll be back at it's 6 o'clock now, so we'll be back at 6:05.
Righto.
See you in 3 hours.
Well, I will see you in 3 hours, but not for this game.
That's a good point. You should join us for this sometime, Reckless, if you ever want to, just so you know. I think you'd be welcome fit.
Yeah, problem is I'm kind of sketchy on Sunday. I'm going to be going here in about 15 minutes.
Oh, it's no problem, man. It was good to see you, regardless.
This will give me a chance to come up with pricing for the buggy. Jesus, how am I supposed to price a tow cable and a smoke launcher?
Thinking of one of those really ghetto smoke things for the back. Basically, just like a bunch of smoke grenades, kind of rigged to like almost a mechanical switch that just pulls all the pins at once. That's the way smoke grenades dump their gas out, they don't explode exactly. So
if you mention that to him, he waves his hand. He's like, "There's no way I'm going with something amateur like that."
Oh wow!
He goes into the side of his garage for a second, and like he'll pull out of a small cardboard box like an actual 3-tube grenade launcher that you normally see on an armored vehicle. He's like, "This is what we're talking about."
I'm going to look it over for a second, and then instead of giving him a snide look, I'll give him an approving look. Very rare for Akron.
We'll pretend that happened before you left.
I know we left the warehouse. We're probably going to reshuffle my inventory. There's a couple things I probably would have left there, and I just wasn't thinking while we were in session.
Yeah, no problem.
The motion tracker and stuff, I'm not ready to use that just yet. You know what? I might have taken that with me for a specific reason, so I'll actually keep that on me. Ooh, actually, that gives me an idea. When Twitch gets back up, tell him.
This is gonna end up being more expensive than you paid for the buggy. By a lot.
I don't doubt it. Damn it, that buggy would be awesome afterwards. Keep in mind, I did tell him I was open to the house special if he's got something up his sleeve.
User disconnected from your channel.
I'm back.
Welcome back, man. Since you're back, I'm gonna run Twitch by another modification to the original plan. I would probably be handing you this. Well, it depends on how it works, Star. With that motion, how does that motion tracker exactly work that the police had before?
Aliens.
Okay, I'm gonna hand McLeod that and tell him to keep the sound off. And when he's up there doing the casual recon thing, I'm sorry, I meant Twitch. Up doing the casual recon thing, that you should be able to scan inside the apartment and see if anything's moving.
I've had a different iteration that may work. You bought jumpsuits, right? Like repair jumpsuits?
Oh, yes, we did. Specifically bought a couple different styles, actually.
What about a like a port that something was broken, need fixed, like building maintenance type thing? If the building has such a thing.
Man, no, I'd say I definitely like where this is going.
At best, it might get me access to the room. At worst, she might say that like it's a bad time and come back later. At which point, she might try to move the Yarble.
Just popped into my head. Heist setup. Get building jumpsuits.
Yeah. We can be having this conversation as you're traveling, and we can say that you have the suits, with you in the back of the Jeep if you want. Somebody might have thought to throw them in there at the last minute. So, what are you guys gonna do? You pull up to the coordinates, and it's kind of a mid-scale apartment building on the edge of downtown. Not really downtown, just Centron City is a very big place. It's a mid-scale apartment building. It's probably 8 stories tall. And
if I wanted to fabricate a somewhat believable-looking work order.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Can I assist with bureaucracy?
I don't think she would know what the work order looks like, so long as it looks somewhat legit, it's probably fine.
What skill do you think this might be?
Bureaucracy with Ray is probably the best one. That's
yeah.
The paperworky thing.
So, all right.
Notably, I'm gonna wear paint glasses over my AR goggles, and I'm going to wear my Atmos filter, so it looks like I'm gonna be breathing in paint or whatnot.
So Twitch is talking about forging some work order, and then he gets a piece of paper and he starts writing stuff out, and then he realizes that he has absolutely no idea what one of these things looks like, and he turns to you, Ray, I guess you're probably the one that actually ends up writing this thing since you have bureaucracy. I think Culture Criminal could potentially help with this, but you'd have to sell me on it, Twitch.
I could probably pull up an example form I could find on the net if he can forge it.
Ooh, okay. You wanna assist with computers instead then?
I might be able to pull up this filled out legitimate form for him. Yeah, that's what I'd be looking for.
Okay, so we'll roll your computers roll first, and TN is going to be. It's not hard to find examples, but one that could get you into a building with just the excuse that you want. That would actually require a roll. That'll be TN. TN 5, really, really low check.
Okay,
that's for you to give a +1 to this.
Hop on the data pad and try to pull one up for him. Good thing the TN was low.
What'd you roll?
11.
Wait,
okay.
I thought I rolled. That was weird. I think we rolled at the same time and it somehow canceled mine.
Who rolled what?
I see Akron rolling 11.
Oh, I don't even see my own roll. That's weird. It only shows me Ray's roll.
I don't see Ray's roll at all.
I see Akron Morris rolled an 11.
Oh, I see Ray Swerza rolled a 1 + 6. Oh, you know what? It scrolled up on me. Never mind. I don't know why it scrolled up. Okay. Never mind. Okay. I guess I found.
Okay, so you found exactly you got double the target score. You got exactly the sort of paper that you wanted. It's like a work order for a building maintenance team for a Centron City building maintenance team, and it's for a typical apartment complex like this, and it's basically a blank form. Ray, using bureaucracy, you're gonna have to fill this out and kind of make it feasible,
look legit, and be,
What exactly are you guys going to use as your excuse is going in here? Are you repairing a plasma leak somewhere, or what are you gonna tell people when you show them this sheet? What does the sheet say?
What kind of thing could get you into someone's apartment?
You would definitely know there's power.
Power
is a big thing.
Leaks could, but she would probably know about a leak unless it's seeping through her a cabinet or something into someone's the floor below or something.
Possible leak of methyl carbon 4.
Mm.
I don't know. It would have to be something that wouldn't be relatively obvious to your generic
Okay,
citizen.
so you want to go with some sort of gas leak?
She's a lab assistant, so it had to be something realistic. You can't just spout something. She probably would know about it.
So some sort of gas leak, not cooking gas, but something.
A natural gas type thing. Well, I guess that would be cooking gas. I guess.
Some sort of chemical leak, or is that what you're saying?
If it's feasible in this time frame, that kind of stuff will be found in your typical apartment house.
Yeah, I think maybe in the utility lines that run through the building, it's feasible that there's something that might be getting piped through that you might say that there's some sort of leak.
Ideally, we want something that she can't detect, but that she would know would be potentially harmful to a Yarble, so she might try to move it.
So
that would be ideal, but
give me a bureaucracy roll. Damn, nice. So yeah, you come up, you jot all this stuff down. You're looking at example forms and you fill it out exactly like you think it should be filled out. Obviously this is digital. It's going to be on your compad, and it only looks official. like if normally these things are supposed to link up to your link up to your like your ID and your work order back at like the Department of Utilities or something, but just showing it to somebody, it looks exactly what it's supposed to. And like you're saying, apparently they're because of the disaster with the comet, there's like some seismic activity in the area, and it's possible that gas lines that run beneath the city might have been fractured.
What floor is her house
on? Her apartment is on the 6th floor.
Of how many?
I think I said 8.
Okay.
So it looks all pretty believable. You've got your jumpsuits. They're kind of a light gray workman's jumpsuit with you've got some dark olive green, like really dark green boots, some like gloves that pull up over your wrist, and hats that kind of match.
Has a kind of generic nameplate on it, like Bob or something that you think would like a maintenance guy would have.
Yeah. These are like kind of digital, so you can kind of program to say what you want.
Are you guys gonna try to smuggle any large weapons in? I'm basically gonna probably carry a laser pistol and a toolkit rather than in his normal spot, and that's it. My gas grenade probably in the same toolkit.
Well, I think getting in is we might. We'll have to find out, but I think that's optimistic.
I'm just trying to think of us walking in with
whatever you smuggle in, it's going to be something that you might be able to fit into maybe like a toolkit, and that's probably about the biggest you can actually try.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking.
So, what are you taking in with you? I assume somebody's taking, their
Xenoballs.
Xenoballs.
Just in case.
A dart pistol with the trank darts.
Dart pistol makes sense.
I'm taking my actual meta tool.
Okay.
That seems like kind of thing you should have as a tech guy. That will actually be equipped. We probably should have brought one of the repair post-net kits. That would make sense, but I don't think we did.
Roll a luck save.
I have one in the trunk of one of our cars that I actually put there. If you,
do you? Is it in the
yeah,
trunk?
I do. Yeah, it's
which
in the
car
trunk
though?
of the 2-seater. Oh, you know what?
Which is now in the
car. Yeah.
In that case, Akron, I would like you to roll luck.
See if I remembered to put it in the right car. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's good.
Hey,
Is that
14?
Nice. Yeah, so you, I guess you weren't even really thinking about it. Like you were unloading everything, and you took it out, and for lack of a better place, you put it in the floorboard of the rear seat of the Jeep. And somebody mentions, "Wow, I wish I had a toolkit." And Phyrexius looks up and he holds up this massive toolkit that would normally take 2 hands to carry, and he's like, "Got one here, guys."
Great. That'll help out probably a lot. That looks somewhat believable if we have a toolkit. So I'll equip the toolkit. I'm carrying the dart pistol, probably in the toolkit, because on the person, that's not happening.
Yep.
I'm gonna wear the armor vest.
What's a common language spoken, I guess, by the community around this area, other than standard?
Oh, probably. Let me make a GM roll. Well, it doesn't have to be GM. You won't know the results.
Leave my pack in the car. I'm not gonna actually put everything in the car.
Carthen.
Oh, that's perfect, because the translator torque was already set to Carthen. So I'm gonna basically have my translator torque and atmos filter on, so it looks like it'll be.
The person we're after is human, right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm just gonna be acting like those people that, you're gonna be repeating everything you say in different language in case that's who's inside.
Okay, so who wants to carry the toolkit, or shall I?
Most of everything I've got, I put on my belt.
I assume I'm on faceman duty.
That seems good. I'm going to be wearing all this crap. I'm basically using my Atmos filter and paint goggles as kind of a mask.
So I shall have a copy of the manifesto that Gray has made for me on the data slab, because paper, I'm assuming, isn't the normal way to do it these days. So I have my tablet, as it were. I have the compad, the metatool. That's what I have visibly equipped. I can carry the toolkit if someone else doesn't want to do that. It may be the kind of thing our big guy should carry, because I'm assuming it's bigger.
Are you, what are you doing? What are you doing with Max with this? Is he coming with you? Like, maintenance droids are coming.
Yeah, he'll come with me. That'll work. He could help out. You know, there's always those tight little positions that you might need something like that for.
Do you want to equip your stun module?
Yeah, we'll go with that. That
okay.
As long as it's not like a visible, like, shocking thing.
No,
on the
no,
okay.
it's on the inside.
You guys are going in, right?
I thought everybody was going in. Are you just going?
Is it unusual for a maintenance team to have 3-4 people? For this kind of thing?
You know, you see, it's unusual if it's one person. It's usually 2. But it's not unheard of, especially given like the state of the city, that jobs might require up 4 would be pushing it, but 4 is within kind of the standard limit.
I think I'll just stay lookout in the car.
Alright.
Because if we have 4 people, they might be a bit suspicious.
Yeah, first things first, though, I want to see if they have, like, you know, surveillance and stuff that Victor might be able, or Akron might be able to tap into.
That's a good idea, actually. I remember you mentioned that, and I completely slipped my mind.
So you guys are all talking out in your car in the parking lot, and it's got like a. This is the parking lot on the rear side of the building. You've got some privacy back here. Like it's not a bad neighborhood. It's just like your typical kind of semi-rundown urban environment. And you see the occasional person walking or driving past. Nobody really pays you any mind. You want to see if you can break into the wireless network?
Yeah, I'm gonna try that on my data slab here.
TN gonna be. Let me get an idea here real quick before you roll it.
Also,
TN 8.
Okay. Oh, just made it.
What'd you get?
Got a 9.
Okay. I'd really like it if when you guys make rolls, if you could just say what you get, because a lot of the times I'm looking at like another page. Okay, yeah, you break in. It's a very typical wireless network for an apartment complex like this. You see like a building security system with like fire protection and like a route to quickly summon authorities or emergency services. There's security cams placed in typical places that you would think in an apartment complex of kind of a medium scale. You also see a directory listing of people like who are living there, like residences. You see like maintenance logs, like basically deliveries, and then like things that the staff of the building have flagged, like the furnace needs fixing or stuff like that.
Do I have any kind of any kind of information on her specifically, or any kind of camera angles on that general area of the building?
Have her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinca Relote, I think, or Relote. I think Relote. Yeah, she's listed in the directory, and
not that a maintenance crew would probably have her name, but
no, but you have her name, and you see her name listed in the directory it gives you like it confirms the floor number and the room number that you were given. It's on the 6th floor, room 4. You pull up the security cameras and go to the directory for 6th floor, and you start cycling through angles. Let me see here. All right, there's only one camera on the floor, and give me a luck save.
Oh, no luck.
It does not catch her door specifically. It's like it's pointed down the other end of the hallway.
This apartment, as far as entry, can we see anything about that? Is like a key card lock to get in? Is it like a front desk reception?
There is basically there is a kind of a lobby, and you enter in there, and the building manager may or may not have an office like off of the lobby, but in order to progress past the lobby, you have to have like a card to swipe to get to the elevators or into the stairwells. The stairwells are locked, or you have to have somebody let you in.
Right. So you need to either hack that or social engineer it. One of the two.
Yep.
Akron's going to glance over at Twitch and say, sometimes the social touch is the way to go. It seems like that's the case here.
Yep, seems to be.
I'm gonna pick up my my little short aluminum ladder and slam these.
Do they have a local maintenance crew, or they call in? Do we see anything like that?
You see, if you're looking through the directory of their like work orders. Let me roll something. It seems out of the last 10 calls, 6 of them were from one company, and the other 4 were from others. Like, so it seems they have a slightly preferred one, but it's not one that's perhaps like the only one that they use.
Okay, so what group shall we be from, guys? Any preference?
You want to try to say that you're from one of the ones listed there, or just make up your own?
Which one has jumpsuits most similar to the ones we have?
Do you want to do a quick net search on each one to see if you can find like their web page?
We can do that, or possibly on the security films that Figure seems to have access to.
Searching through recordings. Actually, yeah, because you have dates and times when those people came in, listed with the work orders. Yeah, that's actually a very smart call there.
And there was it down big time, actually. I was thinking it'd be hard to do that, but yeah.
I was gonna say it would be impossible, but now it's very easy. Let me make another roll. Wow. So the majority of them actually wear gray jumpsuits. Like, it seems the only ones that don't are their kind of normal guys. They wear dark green, like a higher quality uniform. Apparently the other 4 groups.
All the companies buy their jumpsuits in bulk from the thing.
Yeah, like,
found ours at.
well, it seems like the other 4 are like small companies, like maybe only like half a dozen people, and it's like just a small business, so they get like cheap suits. And yeah, you lucked out. Of the ones there, they pretty much all wear dark gray jumpsuits or light gray jumpsuits, whatever, some variation of gray. You'll fit the part.
Okay, so what gas in particular are we here for? I know we said just because of that, but as far as names? Can we just use like
methane
carbon 4 or something like that?
Yeah, methyl carbon 4 if you want.
Okay. Which side of the building, in reference to where our car is her apartment
on? It's on the opposite side.
So she's on the front side of the building?
Yep.
Okay. So how big is the Yorble? Is it like a dog, roughly, or?
Small dog, roughly
like
kind of
that kind
cat
of
size.
Okay, like so.
Maybe large domesticated cat.
I'm judging if it would fit in like your typical toolkit sized box.
That's a good point.
Yes. If you dumped everything out, you think it could fit in there, judging by what you've seen.
Not sure if you caught it, by the way, but I mentioned that we'd probably stop by some sort of a pet store and pick up some sort of a cage capable of containing it on the way here.
I did not catch that. I didn't hear that.
Where was that at?
When we first left the warehouse, it was a long time back, and other things were going on. That's why
I don't
thought
remember
I'd
seeing
just-
that.
Do you guys think you should be taking a pet cage in for a methane
Oh,
leak?
not in with us. I meant in the car.
I don't suppose you want to
Okay.
be keeping it in the toolkit the whole way back.
No, it would be in the in
Okay.
the car, basically.
So you guys have like a plan. Do you want to head in?
Anything else anybody else wants to think about? I think
If you
I've
want,
thought about as much
if
as I
you're after a porta box, I already have one.
I'm gonna motion to the.
But yeah.
I'm gonna break out my motion tracker, which has a little bit of paint smeared on it now. I put on there intentionally, and I'm gonna hang it on my belt loosely and tap it and motion to everybody that may not have known that I had it and may recognize it from the guns on the previous
So
job.
the three of
and
us, Brixis should probably stay here. I don't know if we have a Carthan-sized jumpsuit. I don't think we would. Unless we picked one up specifically for that.
No, I paid extra for it specifically for a Carthan.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I remember that.
You get
So,
his
do we
jumpsuit
want to go in
cost
as
more.
3 or 4? Is the question. And does Ray want to come?
I'll probably stay in the car.
Okay. 3 it is then.
On the way up to the apartment, can I check to make sure our car is not like in any obvious camera arcs as a quick security glance? Just so I know what kind of visibility coverage we're getting.
Roll me another ubiquitous luck save.
Sounds good.
Would it be luck or tech when it's dealing with security cameras? I guess
That's
doesn't
still a
matter.
luck
With a-
for
with a-
placement.
with a
Tech
2,
is
it
more
doesn't
like
matter.
tech is your ability to resist technology.
I think it would be security to notice the cameras is what I was thinking to know what it's
No,
looking at,
this
but I
is not
botched
to
my
this
luck,
is
so-
not to notice cameras. You specifically asked if your vehicle was inside of a camera. You are parked directly beneath one.
That's great.
So you guys head around front. Frixis looks a little nervous, like he's pulling up the collar of his jumpsuit, and he keeps adjusting his clothing. He's carrying the toolkit, but he's following you. I guess Twitch, you're taking the lead. You enter the building.
Yes.
All right, inside you see like a janitor bot buffing the floors. It's just like a circular. It's basically like one of those little Zamboni things that buff like ice rinks for hockey, except it's just like really small and it's automated for this thing.
So it's like the little droid from WALL-E?
I haven't seen WALL-E, but probably.
How did you
I never saw WALL-E.
There's a little droid called Mo that looks like this. Has this tiny little roller, and all it does the whole movie is chase WALL-E around, trying to get rid of the dirt from the tracks he's leaving.
So yeah, that's going around. You hear kind of like a low like back and forth as it goes, and backing out of a like an office off to like the side, like carrying some boxes, is a rather rotund looking Carthan. He doesn't actually see you initially. He seems to be like he's holding some boxes 3 of his hands, and he's pulling the door closed and locking it with his fourth one.
From like a service room, or like the manager room type thing?
Like on your left side, there's definitely a manager room. Like it's got like a pair of glass windows that have shutters, or not shutters, but like they're obviously tinted. On your right side, there appear to be a couple of doors. Like one might be a bathroom, and then the other is probably a storage closet. In front of you, there's like a kind of plexiglass wall that you can see into the interior of the rest of the lobby, where the elevators are. And like right before reaching the wall, there's another door that has the symbol for stairs. It's got like a key lock next to it, or like a like a keypad lock. And there's like a glass door in the middle of this glass wall that basically would admit you to the rest of the building.
All right. Is it like you have to knock thing? Is it like a call I wish to talk type button?
Well, he turns around and he sees you and says, "Oh, I didn't know anybody was scheduled to come in today." He's kind of juggling the boxes. His brows furrowed.
Akron's going to reply in a muffled voice at first that you can barely understand behind his Atmos filter, and then his translator Torque's going to bark out just some sort of like "Hello there" in Carthan.
He just looks kind of quizzically at you.
We're here about a methyl carbon 4 leak up on the 6th floor. I hold out the data pad, like apartment 4, I believe.
Methyl carbon. Apartment 4. Oh.
Yeah, I got a work order here for it.
You hand him the thing, and he shifts everything to his right side, and he like the boxes are precarious for a moment, but then he gets control of them, and he takes the form from you, and he looks them up and down. He looks at you, and he's like, "You guys from ECG?"
Yep, that's us.
No, I guess Cynthia must have put this through. I wasn't aware of it.
You don't have it in the system?
I didn't see it. I was just preparing to head up. Yeah, here, I'll let you guys in. And he shifts and kind of waddles over to the plexiglass entrance, and he puts his hand on a scanner. It lights up, and it chimes, and the door slides open, and he steps through and then steps to the side to let you all through. Phyrexius gives him like a polite nod and kind of like takes the brim of his hat and kind of like brings it down a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
You said the 6th floor?
Yes, the 6th floor. A bit of a walk, I assume, but
walk. He gestures for one of the elevators.
Oh, he opened. Okay, he opened the access point to those. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely take an elevator then.
Yeah,
you guys sounded like he was opening the stairs or something.
No. You guys climb into the elevator, and he like, I think there's a moment of awkwardness as he climbs in with you.
How big is the elevator?
It's meant for Carthans, but not a lot of them. There's 2 of them in here, and along with 2 humans, so it's not scrunched, but it's not terribly comfortable in here.
I was more worried about weight capacity.
Oh no, that's totally fine. They're heavier species than Carthans. He turns around and he says, "Floor 1." And the elevator gets moving.
Lobby, right?
No, well, lobby's
yeah, but
I guess
normally
floor
it's
2.
It's lobby 2, 3 then, right?
Yeah, floor 2 then.
Okay, we'll push 2 and then 6.
So he gets out on the 2nd floor, and then And then, you know, he kind of waddles out. He looks back. He's like, methyl carbon 4. What does that do?
Nothing overtly dangerous, at least in the short term. Mainly drowsiness for the most part. Wouldn't be a problem to get it fixed. Shouldn't take too long.
All right. Well, if you have any problems, just calm me. There's a panel up there.
Can do.
And the elevator door's shut, and you guys head up to the 6th floor.
As soon as we get out on the 6th floor, I'm going to take my motion tracker out, but I'm going to move it around and act like it's some sort of a gas detector instead of the motion tracker.
Boop, boop, boop. You step out, and I think there's somebody just entering their apartment. They give you guys like a look over, and just without saying anything, they walk into their apartment. You see the one lone security camera on the opposite side of the hallway. It's pointed in your direction, and you walk beneath its gaze to head towards apartment 4. Like, you count the apartment numbers. You reach apartment 4.
Yep. You knock.
But before you knock,
or whatever happens.
right before you Twitch knocks, I'm gonna probably try to stop him if I can, and then scan through the door for a second to see if there's any motion before he does.
Like you're holding it up and you're kind of wanding it around the door, and eventually you hear boop 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 boop, and you get like a beep of motion pretty far in the apartment.
Is it any indication of size or just a slight amount of movement?
It's not so finely calibrated that that you can really pick up size.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of show that to Twitch silently, then nod and step back and let him continue his course of action.
So there was one blip, but nothing about size.
Yes.
Yep.
How sensitive is that device? I guess we don't know.
I think I said it was out to what, 30 feet? Was it 40 feet? Something like that?
Something around there, if I remember correctly.
It should be getting a good portion of the apartment if it's a standard size apartment. It's not going to pick up on somebody just sitting still, or like turning a page on like an old-fashioned book. If they're sitting at a table eating, you wouldn't pick them up really. They do have to be moving.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll knock and see if we can get access. That's the thing.
There's like there's like a little panel that you press your hand to that signals the apartment, and it lights up acknowledging that you have signaled the apartment. There's no answer. How long do you wait about?
Probably a minute or two, maybe.
No, nobody comes to answer the door.
You said the door is not within line of sight of the camera, right?
Nope.
Akron,
would you like to try? You have security, right?
Akron's going to put his motion tracker back on his belt and see what he can do here. Is this an electronic lock, or what kind of lock is
this? Electronic lock. This would this would be security.
Okay, I'm looking at my bonus for that. I think I actually rolled my computer one too low. Or no, never mind. That's correct. I have +1 in it here. I was thinking of Regan for some reason. Okay, let me roll it here.
Okay, I'm gonna load the dart pistol, and I'm gonna put it inside of my jumpsuit.
Okay, Phrixus, you do that, and you see Phrixus standing, like, almost kind of suspicious behind you. Like, he definitely looks a little bit out of place. But
Dang.
You know, he's.
You rolled 2d8, Akron.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was about to get really excited.
I know. I saw the 15. I'm like, no way. How'd that happen?
Oh, well, that's still a damn good roll.
Oh, thank God. Sorry about
yeah,
that.
you attach a like a probe from your compad up to this thing, or maybe you just hold it in close proximity and it has some sort of like EMF intruding sort of projector, and you tap through it, and you get kind of like a standard security lock, and a few seconds later, the light on the door turns or on the keypad turns green, and you hear like the faintest sound of like a pleasant chime, like you have successfully entered in the code, and you hear an unlock in the door frame.
Yeah, I guess we open it and go in then.
I'll go in last and watch
find
my
out
feet.
if the woman's there or not.
Akron is gonna go in last and watch his feet to make sure nothing tries to slip out the door in the other direction.
All right, so we've got Twitch going in first, and Akron going in second, and Phrixus picking up the rear. Ray, how are you dealing with this wait? Are you on comms with everybody? Like they're not talking to you, but you have open comms to everybody?
I'm listening in.
So you basically just
Keeping
hear their chatter. You don't see anything, suspicious outside of the building.
Would be broadcast.
Notably, if I see a woman with this person's description pulled in, I'll notify them. But,
yeah. So you're keeping an eye out, like you're not just waiting in their board. You're diligent. Akron, what were you doing?
I said I would be transmitting my Argus web data to him if he wants.
Oh, so you have like a, it's not blurry, but it's not crack resolution footage from Akron, and it's basically kind of multiple angles. So
kind of being able to pan it like one of those panoramic pictures.
Yeah, probably. So Twitch, you go in. You've got Max on your shoulder. He's kind of like his eye light is changed color, that he's like scanning, and you just kind of lean in and lead the party inside.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So immediately to your left, as like you move in, you're in a small hallway. Immediately to your left is a small door, looks like a closet. A little bit further down, like maybe 4 or 5 feet, there is an open archway that, as you start to approach, it looks like some sort of kitchen area. It has an open wall on one side that seems to lead to a living room. Like, you can hand things over a counter to somebody on the other side of the wall.
I want to move stealthily, by the way.
Okay, so everybody gives me a stealth check if you're trying to be quiet.
Akron, instead of trying to be entirely quiet, he'll try to be quiet with the group.
May as well try. I mean, if you fail, it's like you didn't roll anyways, so... I got 13.
Bringing up Phrixus now.
Oh no, would that be a -1? I have no training in it, so yeah, I think it'd be. I have a +1 in Dex.
Yeah,
so would that be a 0?
It would be a 0.
That would even out.
Okay, so I would have gotten a 6 then. One thing I am going to do, as soon as we're even a little into the room, in like a kind of an semi-open area.
Phrixus rolls really well.
I know.
Why can't this be my
-1.
character ever?
I'm going to set down a toolbox, and I'm going to carefully open both latches into it. And this particular box is going to actually contain the berries, but I'm
Okay.
not going to actually.
So you're
open it.
doing this in the hallway?
Yeah, I'm gonna set it down there in the first open area where it might be visible enough to us, but where something thinks it can sneak up on it, like a cat
well, you
or
probably don't want
an
it in
animal.
the hallway, because then someone will walk by and say, "What's this?"
I'm just gonna set it down in
the
this
hallway
box
of the
just-
apartment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The door to the building is closed.
Yep. I'm gonna set it down, and I know that it's incredibly intelligent. So if it's out there and the toolbox is unlocked, it'll probably figure out how to open it up and eat the berries. So.
I want to proceed toward where the potion was.
Yeah. So as I was explaining, ahead of you down this short hallway, the room it opens up into an expansive living room. One whole wall is just flexiglass, and it's like from floor to ceiling, and it overlooks the city. There is a door on the right side of the room, and there is a hallway on the leading from the left side of the room to looks like another pair of rooms or something. You enter the living room area.
Yes, I'm proceeding toward the end of the apartment where the blip was when we picked it up. Whatever
Right,
was
so-
moving at the time.
Akron, are you heading with them, or are you doing something else? Like you said, you stopped to do this thing with the toolbox. Once you do that, are you staying together, or are you splitting up?
As soon as the toolbox is back, I'm going to take my little motion detector out, turn the volume down, and then keep on walking with them.
Okay, so as soon as you turn around, I think all of you realize that when Akron popped the locks on his tool case, it was kind of like cringingly noisy. From down the kind of unlit hallway, you see like a figure emerge from a room, and as that happens, your little motion sensor goes boop 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 boop, and you hear a man's voice call out, "Hey, who's there?"
A man's voice.
Yeah, what do you do?
I remain quiet as if it was something that he might have,
You're standing in the living room.
I'm in the living room? Is there a couch between the voice and me that I can hide behind?
Alright, I'll let you make a dexterity save. Or not a dexterity, it's I guess evasion. If you can make that, you can say that you dove behind something fast enough as you saw his kind of silhouette emerging from a door. But there's literally it's a hallway coming from the room you're in, and he was just in that hallway. Yeah, Frixus doesn't even try, he just stands there.
Okay, I guess I want to dart pistol him.
So you pull out your gun and you fire a dart pistol, okay.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be in here, so obviously.
Alright. AC is 9.
Should be plus 10 then. No, 12.
So you pull out your dart pistol, and we hear a as this dart flies down the hallway, and you just hear a curse from this guy, and he goes to a knee. Akron, how are you responding?
Kind of wide-eyed shock at the fact Twitch just shot at this guy with a dart pistol. Instead of just identifying ourselves as maintenance.
Is there anything you immediately
it's not like
do?
We got
you
let
just
in. We hacked our way into the room.
you stand there in shock.
It's a second. I'm not really sure. I'm probably gonna get my my other toolbox, my actual gun on it may be handy, but just in case things get ugly. But that's about it.
Yeah, well, he drops to one knee, and you see him reaching for something in his coat, and he pulls out what is obviously a gun, and you hear a gunshot go off. Twitch, what is your AC?
8, because I took off the armor vest.
That's a hit. You take 3 damage as a bullet strikes you in the bicep of your arm. And Phyrexius, like, he tackles you and like throws you behind this couch that you had momentarily thought about diving behind. Acheron, this guy is starting to take shots down the hallway, and it is very unsafe to remain standing where you are.
I am going to definitely see if I get my laser pistol out while diving behind the nearest piece of cover possible, and also screaming to hold your fire and see if I can get any kind of answer out of the guy.
You hear "hold your fire," and the wall next to you just gets lit up by several bullets. You hear like a yell from back there, and what are you doing, Twitch? It, like, beside you, like, Phyrexius is kind of getting off of you, and you see him pulling his pistol out from his waistband.
We don't want to kill the guy. He could know where she is. We need to find the Yarple. This is...
But he's shooting at us.
Yeah.
He says as like a bullet goes through the top of the couch and fluff goes everywhere. Okay, yeah, you pop up
Twitch
and try to
and
dart.
Stun, and, not Twitch, but Max can try and stun him too. That's like it's like a ranged weapon, right? Like the stun pistol was.
No.
That's not?
The way that Acheron hooked it up is he has to be very close to use it.
Okay. What is?
It's basically like
a
taser almost, but it's yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just use the dart pistol then.
Yeah. AC is still 9.
13.
You fire another dart, it sticks into the wall and kind of vibrates there. The guy, Acheron, you see the guy starting to disappear into one of the 2 rooms down at the end of the hall. What are you doing?
As a side note, I guess so I've opened my toolbox to get my laser pistol. I see that gas grenade there instead, and I'm gonna take that out and hurl that down the hall towards the room is going in if I can.
Awesome! I'm really glad that actually came up like 4 sessions later.
Heck yeah!
Let's see here, gas grenade.
Notably, I am wearing my Atmos filter for what it's worth, and goggles, including safety goggles. I think it's a 2d6 minus 1, is it? Or is it a strength check or a dex check?
There's an odd attack roll for grenades that I'm looking up right now. If the PDF will fucking stop freezing. Give me 1 second to look this up.
Sure thing. Just hoping I get lucky dice, gets to be pretty amusing if it works.
I've had a 50% chance and missed twice, so...
Grenades. Grenade users always roll to attack AC 9. On a miss, the grenade lands 1d10 meters away or something. So roll plus 9 in whatever bonus you're getting. This is going to be primitive weaponry.
I don't have any primitives, so that'd be a negative 1. But does it take dex or strength? So would I be getting a +1 or no +1?
It is dex.
Okay, so I guess it would just end up being the D9 flat then, right? Or the +9 then, I mean.
Yeah, 20 + 9.
Okay. Cross my fingers. No! Damn it!
Roll 1d10. Alright, and roll 1d8. Okay, so you throw it, and it actually goes past him, and smacks into the wall on the end of the corridor. And it's a good thing that this was a fairly, small area that you were throwing it in. Missing had very little effect in here. Roll 1d4 for your your duration. And then roll 1d2. Wow, you got max. Holy shit. He gets to make a physical effects save for half. He passes, so he's only going to be taking 1 damage every round, but that's still pretty noticeable for 4 rounds. That entire end of the hallway is just suffused with this like clear gas. It looks it looks just kind of like this clearish film is spreading through the air, and you know, we hear the gas escaping from the grenade, and the guy says, "Holy shit!" and he dives into the room beside where the grenade is going off.
Akron, realizing that he'd had the advantage given he's got safety gear on, this guy probably doesn't, is going to start pushing straight in towards him.
Hell yes. Twitch, you see Akron just throw this grenade, and then he bolts down the corridor after he threw it. What weapon do you have out? I
have a dart pistol out. Oh, you're talking to Akron.
Akron.
You know what? I've got my my laser pistol, but I'm kind of prepping. Instead of holding it like a laser pistol, I'm actually holding it like I'm going to try and slam him in the head with it.
Okay, so pistol whip. Yeah, and Phrixus, like he looks at you like what do I do? And Akron just disappears down the hallway. Twitch,
are there rooms behind us?
There is a door behind you. Yes, that is closed.
Okay,
that has not been explored yet.
So I'm gonna open that door and have a look around inside.
That's very smart. You run to the door and you find it locked.
I look over at my local door opener.
Phrixus like looks back.
Think you can break that?
Phrixus like drops the toolkit that he's still holding. It like clatters loudly to the ground, and you see like a kind of like a nod, like this is something I can do. Let me see here. This would be a strength roll. And let me look up a skill real quick. I want to see if athletics applies. Athletics, running, jumping. Nope, that's just a straight 2d6 plus strength. Oh god, he like winds up, he spreads all 4 arms like he's balancing, and then he just lifts one large foot and just smashes the door, not in, but down, like off of its hinges, and it flops like flat into the room. There's a squelch as like the electronic keypad next to the door is like ripped out partially, and you see wires sparking, and this door totally flies in. Akron, you run into the clear chemical smoke of this grenade, you know, breathing in your sensor or in your Atmos filter. There is an open door to your left, and there is an open door to your right. The grenade is at your feet, going off, filling the entrances to both rooms, and the guy has last been seen diving into the room to your right.
In that case, I'm going to get the gun ready, and as I push in, I'll be looking for him. When I do find him, I'm probably going to yell at him while I'm attempting to club him in the head, I guess, or at least club his, restrain his weapon if I get the opportunity to do that. Try not to kill the guy, for a few reasons.
He is across the room, his back against the wall, coughing horribly. And you like this is obviously some sort of guest bedroom. There's a double bed here. There's like a closet on the far end that has its doors are shut. There's a nightstand. There's a window that gives a view of the city, but there's pretty much nothing else in here aside from this guy. And then like it seems like the bed has been slept in. There might be some things around the room like clothes or something. But yeah, he's up across the other side of the room, coughing horribly, like his pistol in his hand. It's clear that this is a human with like a scar on his cheek. He's got a leather pair of boots, and he looks like he is in the process of keeling over, but he's trying to raise his pistol.
I'm gonna try to see if I can get to him and whack, or like pistol whip him directly on the elbow enough to make him possibly drop his weapon, or at least try to get his weapon away from him in some way.
Alright, he raises his gun to fire at you. I am going to let you roll an evade check because he is not doing too well from this coughing fit that he has.
How would evade checks work? Let me see. This is D20? Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh god, here we go. Oh god.
Alright, so you don't get out of the way, so he will get his shot off. That's not like direct damage. He's gonna make his attack now.
Oh,
what's your AC?
Our in-combat rolls suck today?
Yeah, my AC is 8, I think, without armor, right? For my,
he shoots you.
Oh no.
For 4. He he's having a hard time tracking you, and you're running around. Like you see him pull the gun out, and you try to get to the side, but he's still able to track you. His eyes are watering, and he shoots you in the leg. Like you go down behind the other side of the low bed. Ray, you hear gunfire, and you hear yelling over your comms.
This doesn't sound good. But I heard them pass a security guy going in, right? So.
Yep. Well, not security, like the building manager, but you heard them get let in, and you heard them like yell to somebody, like hold your fire, and now there's gunshots, and there's like a loud crash.
Guys, reporting, guys. What's going on up there?
Are you staying in the car?
Yeah.
You got the video feed for me, don't you yet? So you've
That's
probably
right.
seen my adventure, actually.
Oh yeah, that's true. So you've seen Akron. Like the camera feed suddenly tilted now, and he's on his side.
I'm staying in the car for now.
Okay. Across the apartment, Twitch, Phrixus moves out of the way, and you move into this room like dart pistol raised, and you see a human woman, stripped bare, tied to the bed of obviously what is a master bedroom. She looks like absolutely terrified. She's gagged, and like she's just like.
I want to remove the gag and untie her because she's obviously probably the only one. So this situation has changed a bit.
Well. So you remove the gag, and she's like, "Please God, don't kill me!" And she's like absolutely
killing anyone.
Absolutely terrified. In the room, Victor, what are you doing? You've just been shot. Or Akron.
I'm gonna scream for the one person that can actually come in here and possibly help me. Max. I'm basically gonna try to take cover behind the bed and get my pistol more in a firing position while screaming for Max's help.
So, Max is on your shoulder, like staring intently at this scene. Twitch. He lets out like kind of a worried noise that you've come to know is like when he's distressed when he sees the state of this woman, and then you hear
I stare Max in the sensor and tell him, "Go help Akron."
Yeah, like as soon as he hears that, he jumps off of your shoulder and he just starts scuttling across the the carpet, and Pharixus is like looking about, and like he hears like another gunshot as this guy like fires at you again, Akron. He just like he can't see you. It like it's just blind fire at this point, and he takes off after Max as well.
Speaking of blind fire, can I duck my gun over the bed and take a return shot at him at this point?
Yes, that is something your gun is made for. You will maintain cover, so he'll have a hard time shooting at you. And this is definitely the circumstance that your scope was made for. His AC is 9.
Ah, come on, dice.
Oh,
Yes!
a hit. Roll damage. I think that's 1d8.
Yep. Wow, I actually got a good hit.
Ooh. Let me bring up the handy dandy bad guy tracker. Pasted. You line up and you fire, and you literally just like turn this guy's head into a smear against the wall, and he slumps down. Like 3 seconds later, Max runs into the room, like scuttling, like, and like he's like scanning everywhere, and he sees you, and like he just freezes. And then a few moments later, Pharixus runs in and stops beside him and is like looking at this mess in horror.
Pharixus runs into the gas?
It's dissipated by now.
Oh. I want to unbind the woman.
Yeah.
I didn't get to stand up.
You can stand up. We're out of combat.
With my leg. I wasn't sure where I got shot in the leg.
No, I mean you got shot in like the thigh. It's
okay.
What happened?
You might have like a hard time running, but Pharixus helps you up. You're like untying the woman, and she can't meet your eyes. It looks like she's got some bruises on her face and her body.
I find
her room is in disarray. Like
find the nearest thing in representations of clothes and give those to her.
Yeah. When you actually undo her bindings, like it's clear that her wrists and her ankles have been rubbed raw, and she's just like sobbing now.
Upon seeing the situation, Akron's just going to stop, turn around, and go back to the guy and immediately check him for identification.
Well, you're on the opposite end of the apartment, so as soon as you killed him, would you have gone to see what's happening with Twitch, or there is still one room that you have not looked in yet?
No, I would, as soon as we took care of this guy, I'd immediately check his ID to see if he was like a legal resident here, so I know exactly what kind of charges we're facing.
You go and like, have to fight down your gorge for a second because he no longer has a head. He and like his body is actually like twitching, like his feet are twitching. Those boots are twitching just slightly.
Guys, was that gunshots? I mean, you're not gonna have much time if that's what that was.
You find like his ID, and his name is Lucas Carmichael, and he seems to be a resident of Centron City. Like the address that you're given, you don't know where it is, but it's not here.
I'm gonna tuck that ID away for later.
Dressed. If the Yarple's here, we need to get that too. But other than that, we need to go. You don't seem to be safe here anymore.
You hear like she hears you say Yarple into your comm set, and her eyes go wide, and she's like, she takes a slight momentary break from sobbing. She's like, oh God, just take it. I don't care. She's like, I've told you already.
I have nothing to do with the man who was just here. We represent the zoo, and they want it back.
We represent the zoo, ma'am.
She looks at you, and she's like, let me bring up name generator again. 12 Tolman sent you. You would not know this guy's name, but Akron, you recognize this as Brashil's first name.
I'm definitely going to be, I'm going to, I'm not, well, I guess I'm out there now with her, right? I finally met up with her?
If you
the guy from
leave...
the zoo? Who's Brashil?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the doctor guy.
I need to write that down in notes, but I didn't yet.
You're leaving the apartment, or not the apartment, the room, and like the room that you have yet to come into is like directly across from you. It seems to be some sort of study. You hear like a shrieking from inside, like a low, like animalistic shrieking. Akron?
And this is behind the closed door?
No, it's open. You can't see what's causing it from the hallway. Max immediately just scuttles into the room.
Can I patch into Max's feet on my AR goggles without actually going in?
Yeah, it takes you a few seconds. By the time you do, like Phyrexius is leaning his head around the corner to look, and you both see that there is a like a cage on a like a low coffee table, and inside is a very freaked out pink Yarble. It's like hissing and then like swiping. It's like swiping at Max. It's like big black eyes are like tearing. It seems like maybe it got like a faint whiff of the gas grenade.
I'm going to say that I think I'm going to need some hazard pay for my cut as I hold my wound and walk into the room towards the pink Yarble. Keeping somewhat alert after the first guy to make sure there's no other ambushes, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty small room. It's your standard study. Like there's a computer station.
And we need to leave.
It's
obvious you don't want to stay here anymore.
She basically just goes along with you. She has a hard time believing you're not with the men who were here, and like it seems fairly obvious what happened to her. So she's not in a very talkative mood. She's both kind of elated that there's a chance that it might be over, but she's terrified, like that it's not.
As soon as Akron encounters this woman and hears even a little bit of what happened, he's gonna go back and see if he can find a compad on the guy to take before we leave.
You didn't find one when you were searching him for his ID.
Okay.
But yeah, you've got the Yarble in a cage. Like Phyrexius is like, should I grab it?
I'm going to. I'm assuming it's easy to shoot if it's in the cage. I'm going to shoot it with one of the dart pistol.
Okay. You do that, and like it just keels over immediately. You fire and goes, and it just like flops.
It was awfully fast.
Yeah, it goes limp.
I want to use my psionic thing on it to make sure it doesn't die from it, because I don't know how much that took.
Biostasis?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Like I did on the Valorant before.
Yeah. Bringing that up real quick. Page 26. Biostasis can maintain the vital life processes of a mortally wounded teammate with a touch, blah, blah, blah. May restore life to a creature no more than 6 rounds. 100% of this is... Yeah. You touch this thing and you realize that you definitely gave it way too much of a lethal dose. Expend your points to use it. And like you have to sit there for a few minutes, basically like evening out the toxicity level in this creature.
Will Tritch explain what he's doing as to why we're waiting a moment?
Yeah, I did not know how much it would take. I figured that the dart pistol would be adequate for the job, but it seemed to have been too much. I am making sure the poison doesn't kill it.
If you remember, they told us when we first got it that
Ray,
we want to use Xenoballs. But
outside
is going to grimace at you and point out that you said my berries might be too much previously.
Ray, outside you see a rather familiar looking black SUV pull up like around the corner and then head to the front of the building.
Guys, you might have company soon. Mr. Black SUV is back.
In the
the
distance, you also hear sirens.
And the police are probably coming.
Is there a back exit to this building that you have access to?
She like you basically like wrapped her in a sheet or something, or you've tried to like put a coat around her. I think maybe she probably had
to actually put her clothes on, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine her state of mind though. I think she probably put on like a dress, like a really simple dress. She doesn't put like shoes on. She doesn't put any shoes on or anything. You hand her the dress and she just puts it on, and she like you kind of like direct her physically to follow you.
Take anything that's important to you, your ID, anything of that nature you might need. We need to go.
It's like clear that she is like not paying attention really to what's in the apartment. She sees you guys coming back around with the Yarble in the cage, and has like a momentary like recognition of it, but like she's still freaking out. You're not really like she's like you could use the stairs. That's pretty much all you're getting from her.
Akron's going to sigh with a pretty nasty
You can
groan
come with us if you want, or you can stay if you want. But we need to go. We do represent the zoo, and we will be giving the Yarble back to them. I don't know what your relationship with them is.
So you guys leave the apartment quickly after hearing upon that you guys have company?
The back stairs.
You don't go into a long, detailed conversation, I assume?
Well, I'm assuming I'm doing this while I'm stabilizing the Yarble to make sure it doesn't die.
Yeah, it's stable now.
Okay, we'll be off then.
All right, so how are you guys leaving the building, and Ray, what are you doing? The sirens sound like they're getting closer, and you no longer see the SUV.
You're muted, Frosty.
I'm taking the car around to what I think might be the exit from the back stairs.
Well, we were at the back before, so
we're in the back already, right? Yeah, so I guess
there's like a single emergency door leading out from the back.
So I'm just watching the camera feeds, and when I see them start to get close to the door, I'll pull the car around.
Okay. You guys are all like taking the stairs.
Screaming all the way.
They're free. You're free to enter it from like the upper floors. It's just like the external doors that are locked. And let's see here. Who has the highest luck skill?
I have 14.
Let me see.
I think everybody has 14.
Yep.
Marcus does, but he's not here.
Okay. You're busy like
what class is
comforting this. Phrixus doesn't get to make this luck skill.
GM.
Okay.
Akron, give me a luck check.
All right. God.
I think. Oh, that would be enough for Marcus, but not for you.
Oh. So you're just like the door is just closing to the stairwell, and you look back and you see people getting off of the elevator. It's the people you saw before. They've got like guns. They're getting out like they're in a rush. One of them's like on a compad, like talking to somebody, and one of them like two of them pass by really quickly, and one of them just barely glances and sees this door closing, and he just shouts like, "Hey!"
How much control over the energy output on a laser pistol do you have?
You can dial it up or down, or like if you dial it up, there's some safety hazards.
I'm wondering about if I could dial it to a point where I could quickly fuse the door before we keep going.
They're right outside the door, so you could do it in, like 30, 45 seconds maybe, if you thought you had that much time, but they're right there.
I think it could be done
Shoot
faster
the electronic
than that.
lock and go. It might work.
Is there an electronic lock? I'll try it if there is.
The
one in the room was.
Well, it's just like I just got done describing to you that you're free to enter the stairwells from the upper floors, like it from the, basically the inside of the building, is so nobody gets locked in the event of a fire.
Well, we need to hurry down, so we're a couple flights down when they come in.
Let's keep running.
Oh boy. So you guys just start tearing down the stairs.
The woman seems like she's like going slower.
Oh, she's stumbling, like she falls.
I instruct Phrixus to carry her.
Phrixus like just drops his toolkit and he picks her up easily in his forearms. Like her eyes go wide, and like, you know, she like immediately shuts up, and he easily carries her, and he just runs down the stairs after you. The door upstairs opens. And you hear people running into the stairwell, like yelling. If you look up, you can see like somebody looking down, like the center with a shotgun.
I want to pull it away from him with the shoot. What's it called? It's the level 2 one that they can't be moving for. He's just staring down the thing. It's shoot. Telekinetic press.
Telekinetic press. Alright, so this is going to be a test of your will versus his strength.
Okay.
Wisdom is your modifier for willpower. I basically decided when I was looking through this that
Telekinetic press says I act as if I have strength 18.
Yeah.
I guess it's technically my will strength versus his regular strength.
I guess you can. This can be a strength versus strength roll, and you have a +2. It's not physical strength. It's like mental strength.
Yeah, it's mental. But
I looked through the telekinetic stuff, and I felt that giving people a mental effect save if you're trying to yank a gun out of their hands did not make sense at all. So we're going to be playing kind of a tug of war here. And this is literally just going to be an opposed check. Whoever gets the highest number wins. So you get to roll with +2 since you have technically 2 strength for this, and
I spent 3 points.
Whew. He rolls a 3, so you can only.
I can't fail. 2d6
yeah,
before.
Yeah, you can't fail. So yeah, you don't have to roll.
I still did.
But... you yank the shotgun out of his hands, and just like yank it straight down the stairwell with a really powerful motion of your arm, and he like give me a luck save.
No.
The gun goes off, spraying the stairwell with like pellets. Nobody like takes any serious damage, but like this is really noisy, and I think you're all like audibly stunned for a few seconds. You're cursing from the top of the stairs. You guys keep running?
Yes.
Okay, so you start at the 6th floor and you're going all the way down to 1. Is anybody doing anything for counter pursuit, or are you just running?
I don't have my regular weapons with me.
I'm gonna bring the vehicle around to the door.
If I see any other weapons, I want to do the same to them. But it lasts for 5 minutes until one succeeds on the save.
And
Is that right? That's cool.
Yeah, unless one of them makes their save, then it ends immediately.
What are you doing, Akron?
I'm gonna be basically running as fast as I can down the stairs with a horrible limp. I'm assuming, given my.
So you're leading the pack now, like you've just overtaken all of them for dear life.
Yep, with the Yarble in the other hand, probably.
Okay.
I'm also going to be screaming to Twitch before the horrible gunfire that we probably shouldn't take this thing back to the zoo until we can figure out who these people. Then I'm assuming that loud sound probably cut me off.
Yeah, Twitch, make another opposed strength roll.
9.
Oh yeah, you managed to yank a like a large caliber revolver out of somebody's hand, and like slam it into the wall or something. Give me one last check because during the course of this trip, there's 3 people with guns.
13.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, you disarm all of them. From the bottom of the stairwell. Like the door is suddenly like bashed open and Akron just emerges like wild-eyed with a cage with a pink thing limp inside, like a little pink yarble-ish kind of creature. And literally just feet outside the door is the Jeep. Like the back is to you guys and it's pointed like straight away.
Like, come on, move.
We all get in the Jeep then.
Can I see the black car? Here, I'm guessing.
No.
It was around front, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, it was around front.
Okay.
The sirens are very close right now, and you hear like cursing from in the stairwell. You all jump into the vehicle and you just tear off, and you manage to
Pedal
escape.
is to the floor.
I'm gonna scream for Ray to get us back to the warehouse.
The warehouse? I thought we were going to the zoo.
I'm gonna say we have no idea who these people are.
I'm heading toward the zoo.
Why they want this pink yerbil so badly. I think that we need to figure that out before we
In the
get rid
back
of,
of the vehicle, like sandwiched between Akron and Pharixis, and I guess Akron, like your lap is just totally taken up by the cage of the pink yarble, is the woman that you rescued. And she's just like, she's got a dress on and she's got like a leather coat wrapped around her shoulders, and she looks just like utterly exhausted and stunned. Like she doesn't know how to deal with the ever-changing situation. Like there's gunfire all around her. She's at her end, kind of.
You take care of her first, then we'll take the Yarble back to the zoo. The warehouse first.
Okay.
You
use
see
medication. There's some in the back. But...
You see Pharixis like he doesn't really know what to do, but he kind of like puts his arm like behind her, he leans in. He's just like trying his quiet Pharixis like big guy thing to like stop her crying. So you guys are heading where?
To the warehouse, sounds like.
Okay.
Akron's going to on the way remind her that if anyone ever asks any questions, she might not have seen who we were, but we were quite the heroes.
That can come later, Akron. We have bigger problems to deal with at the moment, and she has things she needs to calm down about.
So you eventually pull up
now
to
is a safe place.
You eventually pull up to the warehouse. You activate your garage door opener and you drive right in. By the time you get there, she seems to have calmed down a little. She's like sniffing, asking like where you guys are, like why you've taken her there, like what are you going to do with her, that sort of thing.
You can do whatever you want to. If you want to stay here and calm down for now, you can do that. We have no intention of harming you.
You may have a few questions, however, before you would like to
Akron,
leave.
no.
She hears questions and like she tenses up. Pharixis kind of like puts a hand on her shoulder and like leads her away. I think he leads her to the break room that you've turned into your kitchen area.
I bring her out some like I guess sedative / calming drugs. I don't know. I don't know what those would be.
She's not about to take them.
Yeah.
No. Okay. They might calm her down though.
Akron suggests to Ray he could always use the dart rifle.
No.
Akron, you can go in your room and stay there.
I think Akron's probably more than happy since he's got like 30,000 credits in his hand right now.
How about some tea? No, I don't know.
I think some nice warm tea would probably be good.
That makes sense.
So, what are you all telling her? Like, you haven't really told her, like, are you asking her any questions? Like,
I'm so that we're basically we're a private company that does odd jobs, and that we were working for the zoo to acquire the Yarple, and things didn't work out as we expected. But her safety is our top priority at the moment.
I guess I'm brewing tea and tending to people who have been shot.
Yep. I know somebody's wounded.
Yeah, in fact, I am, for that matter.
Both of you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Over like, you know, a runny nose and tears, and like she's sitting in like a pathetically like, these are your typical plastic break room chairs, and next to her is like Pharixus sitting in a pathetically small one, like compared to him, and he seems to be like she's kind of like reassured by his just looming large presence. She explains as you like bring her some tea that that she during the night of the of the comet, which was like, she's not even aware of how long ago that was. You tell her it was about like a little over a week ago, and she's kind of shocked that it's been that long. She grew concerned about the Yarble, and she went out to bring it in, but Power went out to the zoo, and she saw the Kremvor escape from its cage, and people were so busy with the disaster and that she wasn't really able to get in touch with anybody. And she actually relates to you how she was chased by one of the zoo creatures, like one of the predatory zoo creatures that's like from an ice planet, and it had chased her out of the building, and she barely managed to escape the building. Like, imagine the scene in Jurassic Park where they're playing hide and go seek with the raptors, kind of like that. And she was trying to protect the Yarble, and she eventually, like, for lack of anything better, she took it back to her place. And the following day, she you know, the lines were still somewhat down. She managed to call the zoo to try to find out what happened, and she got in touch with one of the women who worked there, and she couldn't get in touch with Mr. Tennard or Mr. Brachil. And like, it's apparent to her that she still can't really quite believe what she's like telling you, but she had related to Almara, who is another woman who worked at the zoo, kind of in a lower position, that she had taken the Yarble home to keep it safe, and she had been really interested in that fact. And the next day, she had shown up with like several thugs, and had, like, you know, she'd opened the door for her supposed colleague, and then found herself the target of a home invasion. And basically they were trying to find a buyer for the pink Yarble, and she was raped by the man that they left in charge.
No worries at least about that anymore. He won't be coming back.
So you, like, as this goes on, you get a like a picture of what happened, and it all starts to make a little sense.
We can get him on the line.
She nods emphatically.
All right, so I call up Brachil and hand her a comm communicator, I guess.
The conversation is like really emotional, and you get the feeling that they're like, she's not just his assistant. Akron you already knew this, of course, but like, she doesn't talk to him like his assistant at all, and she's just crying and saying that she's alive, and what had happened, and that and she's in tears. He says that he'll be right over. And he asks her to hand the pad back to you so he can get your address.
And I give him it.
So, meanwhile, Akron, you're in the warehouse. you're probably like trying to bandage your leg up a bit, and on like one of the tables the Yarble is started to wake up, and like we get this scene of Max sitting on one end of the cage just looking in, like just from an inch away.
I set a little bowl of the berries that don't have the sedative in them, but
like it munches on a couple berries and then just like it gets into kind of like a curious staring contest with Max through the cage with these wide blinking eyes. I want to see if there's a role. I want Akron and then Twitch to make perception checks. And Ray, did you have any handling of the Yarble? It didn't sound like it was mentioned at all.
Handling of the creature itself, no.
Okay. So perception check
but...
perception check from Akron and perception check from Twitch.
Perception int or wisdom?
10 for Twitch. Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Ooh, I'm a -2 then, that sucks. Actually, no, I'm not a -2, -1, I guess.
Alright, so Akron, you don't notice it, but Twitch, when you're doing your kind of life scan of this thing and healing it, I think in the back of your mind you realized there was something kind of odd with its life signs that didn't like necessarily make sense with its the fact that it had been given a lethal dose of tranquilizer. If you look closer, this Yarble looks a little rotund, and if you're paying like attention to this thing, I think maybe what sets off your curiosity is the fact that like Max is looking at this thing and then like kind of like he takes out it's his LiDAR scanner and scans the creature, which it kind of freaks the Yarble out, and it jumps back for a second and then it kind of noses back up and is still kind of looking at Max. You hear like a slight squeak from in the cage.
Okay.
Do you investigate this? Or
I shall, I guess.
What you look it in?
Yeah, I look in at the creature.
It's like it's hard to see anything really like odd about it. It looks kind of fat, but you don't know how a Yarble is really supposed to look. It looks back at you with these wide eyes, totally black. It's got like these really long whiskers, and it kind of just twitches them at you.
I ask, I assume it's Vinca who we rescued.
Yeah.
I ask if she knows anything about it. It seems a little bit odd. I tell her that about the things I sensed when
Am I nearby?
Yeah.
I pull up the Xenodex entry that says they reproduce asexually. So...
Yeah, I would have probably figured that one.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but Twitch might not.
1 second.
Akron's gonna look over the situation and comment that we better up our price with the zoo for giving them 2
Maybe not the last pink Yarble anymore? Don't know when that happened, but...
Our profits just went up.
Vinca comments that like she was aware of this, but nobody else back at the zoo is yet. Like it was one of the reasons why she was so concerned.
Good.
She's apparently like the one that takes primary care of this thing.
Does she have a home address for that coworker she talked to?
She gets a really dark look on her face and kind of returns to her like moping. When you mention Elmara.
I'm gonna comment. She's the one that got her in all this trouble, and she's still out there. Someone should have, talk to her.
We will deal with that later, Akron. At least Brashil is on his way now.
You say his name and she doesn't look at you, but she says he'll know what to do.
We shall see. In the meantime, can you like anything to eat, anything of that nature? They already have some tea, but anything we can do for you?
She just goes back to the tea. She's content to be around the Yarble. Like she opens up the cage and kind of pulls it out, and it's pretty docile. Like with her, like it's apparently used to her smell, and she like lays it in her lap and pets it. And if you're like curious about it, she'll I think maybe Pharixis is curious about it. Like it asks like it's gonna be a mom. She kind of hoists it up a little bit, and you see like a marsupial pouch on its belly, and you see like several sets of really dark eyes like kind of peering out from the pouch. And yeah, that's how she passes the time, kind of comforting herself with the Yarble. I think close to an hour later, Dr. Brashil arrives in a like an expensive looking grav car. Like you look out the window of the control room, like the break room all have like a window outside of the warehouse, and see him like get out and like is looking around trying to make sure like that he's at the right place.
I go meet him and open the door. Well, actually, he doesn't know me, so I guess Ray better.
Yeah, I go out and meet him. One of the side doors. But...
Yes, Miss. Forgive me, I forgot your name.
Ray, sir.
Miss Ray. I know we met.
We have an associate of yours inside.
Yes. Vince is here. She's all right.
Yes, a bit distraught, but otherwise all right.
Yeah, he just looks extremely relieved, but he's still a little bit tense until he actually sees her. And as soon as he does, like she puts the Yarble back in the cage and runs up and like is sobbing as she like throws her arms around him. This is probably like a really awkward scene knowing what happened to her. Like this whole reunion takes a little while. But eventually, like, does anybody want to say anything specifically to them? Like, she's in a state now where she can say like thank you, but it's still kind of like a demure. Like she doesn't want to relive any part of what just happened, so she more just like gives you a nod, like everybody kind of like a grateful nod. He puts her in his car, and then he comes around. And he puts her in with the Yarble, and he says, "I can't thank you enough. I thought that he lowers his voice. He says, I thought she had tried to steal it. When she didn't answer my calls, I thought she had skipped town with it."
Assuming he's been told the story, right?
Yeah, in very, very vague detail. He knows something bad happened to her. He probably doesn't know the extent.
Probably doesn't want to know the extent.
Do you broach the subject of the woman who works at the zoo?
I'm probably going to also, since I wasn't getting through to her, point out that there might be questions about the person that blew the head completely off of the man that attacked her, and that she should remember that they were heroes.
Apparently, what has happened here is that she took the Yarble for safekeeping, or so she says, and she called her colleague at the zoo, and the colleague basically backstabbed her for attempting to get the Yarble.
Yeah, I believe Almara was the name of the colleague.
Yes, Almara. She showed up at her door with some thugs, and you can probably assume what had happened next. I won't go into the details.
He looks horrified when you basically relate this sort of thing, and he looks back at the car. And he says, "Oh my God!" He's
been through quite a lot.
He says that he's going to take her to the hospital as soon as they drop the Yarble off.
We would have done that ourselves. Our first priority was to get her somewhere safe. It was a bit of a charged situation when we left the apartment.
He nods like your concerns, Akron, about like not mentioning like this is not the normal person who might break the law, but he says we're both certain that that we don't know anything about the men who rescued her, and even if we did, they certainly did a brave thing, and
I definitely going to speak up at the idea, because I just heard that he was going to drop the Yarble off. I think I might have lost something there. I'm definitely going to suggest very strongly, in fact, I'm going to be very direct that we do that, because there are definitely people that want this thing, and they are not equipped to be the, it.
If they like, we could escort them to the zoo. There's no reason for us to keep it any longer.
Actually, he seems fairly open to the idea of you guys escorting them to the zoo. He like now that he's got like the Yarble in his possession, he's kind of loath to give it, like turn it over to somebody. He sees reason that like this terrible thing has happened to his mistress because of this. So he takes your views fairly seriously. So you're gonna ride in the car with them, and Ray and Twitch, are you sticking in the Jeep?
Yeah, because there's not enough room in the car. So
we should have a car to escort anyways.
Yeah, you'll have to get a car to leave. Frixis comes with you.
We rent a totally normal car that doesn't look out of place on any streets.
Oh, so you basically you want to just call a rental? Okay.
Yeah, because they have seen the Jeep, they have seen the buggy.
Yeah. That's a very intelligent thing to do.
Akron will definitely give you an approving look and say that you are learning.
And yeah, you guys all head out to the zoo. You guys following in, three of you following in a standard rental car that shows up 20 minutes later. You perhaps leave a little bit later than he wanted, but he's very grateful to you, so he's willing to give you some substantial leeway. And Akron riding in with the Yarble, Miss Vinca and Brashil. All right, so the trip goes by without incident, and you are able to get to the zoo. It's very late in the day, it's midnight, but you pull up into the front circle that you guys have been to before. You're let through by the security as soon as his Brashil opens his window and waves you guys through, and Tenard has apparently been called ahead to meet you guys here. And yeah, it seems to go off without a hitch.
Once we actually get into the zoo, while they're returning it, I'm going to speak to the money person while it's being brought in and point out that we did have a deal for one Yarble, but now it sounds like they have several more Yarbles. And I think that and especially due to the extenuating circumstances of these recoveries, I think that we should be given a bonus.
Akron,
so you say
want to roll
that
business?
You say
That's a skill.
Yeah, you say that, and I'll let you roll a business roll.
Oh God. Let me see how this goes.
this is basically not a target number. I just want to see how well you make this argument.
It'd be -1 for business, +1 for int, I'm guessing, right?
Charisma.
What? Oh, charisma. Okay. Let me see if I think I have +1. Do I have plus? No, I do have +1 charisma. Okay. Ultimately,
You do?
Yeah, that's how he talks himself out of so many situations.
Okay. Oh, hell yeah.
Holy shit. Alright, so if you had not rolled well, it would have just come off as a total amateur. But you're able, like, they don't have the zoo legal advisor here at this late at night. You've talked to Mr. Genotine before. Like, he's not here, but you broach this subject with Brashil before he leaves to take Vinca to the hospital, and he says, you have a point. I can't focus on this right now, but Eirik, handle this. They've been really good with us, and he gets in the car and he basically drives her to the hospital. Eirik Tenard, the Carthan, I think I described him as having one less arm. No, that was Uncle Gorax.
He's
got
Actually,
like
Gorax has 2 less arms.
Yeah, this guy, he's just got like extensive scarring. He's the one that you've met before and dealt with. He explains that he's not the sort that normally deals with financial matters, but he gives a call to Genotine, and he says, like, I don't care if I need to wake him up, just do it. And eventually, a kind of annoyed Jassar Genotine gets on the phone, their legal advisor, and you kind of discuss this out. And Akron, you make some like really kind of cogent points about going kind of above and beyond. Like, they only asked for 1 Yarble as per their contract because they didn't know it was pregnant, and like, you gave them more back, so like technically he admits that they don't own those other Yarbles since they weren't birthed while the thing was in custody of the zoo. Like, nobody can confirm that, so like he explains that they're very willing to consider some sort of bonus if you keep quiet about that fact and don't make any sort of fuss about that. You support the zoo's claim that this was reclaimed legally, and it sounds like you'll get a bonus. He also, like, I assume you bring up the topic again of that payment that they were withholding because you didn't get like an identification of the body for the other Vorax. Like, we still haven't gotten this. He eventually kind of relents that too. Like, within 11, you're getting a lot. He
awesome.
says he'll put the gas on that thing as well. So you can expect to get the payment for the Yarble, a bonus, and then the payment for the death of the other Vorax.
Listening to this conversation over the comms, Ray is thinking, power armor, here I come.
So we're gonna end our session, but we'll have some nice tallying of goodies before we leave off. We end the session with you guys heading back to the warehouse without incident. It's very late when you get back. It's like 2 a.m. You pull in. Pharixus has like bags under his 4 eyes, and he waves to you guys, and he goes back home. Akron, you have a message from the guy who you contracted to do the work on the car. We'll get to that after we deal with the money situation. So, let me bring up the Xenodex so I can tell you exactly what you get. And Akron, you're in charge of the bankroll, right?
I've been doing it, but I'm more than happy for
Let's just have
Folks,
one
double check
person declared to do it, so that there are no mistakes.
I will. Victor's probably busy with Mega Mech stuff.
Okay, that's fine.
Fine.
All right. So Cloud, you can do it. You have. I haven't looked at it. You have like a calculator, like for the account on
On the right side.
Yes.
Okay. So for the death of the Claude Vorax, you get 7,000.
Oh, I probably shouldn't write it in there because it'll be. Could write Vorax 7,000, but that won't work because it won't calculate that.
Tell me when you've got it done.
Yep, it's there.
For the Pink Yarble, you get 30,000 plus an additional 10.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm curious to know what that brings you up to.
88,186.
Ooh, damn. Of course, that's going
Our cuts
to.
haven't taken out of
Sounds
that
like
yet,
a
but
potential down payment to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. The reason why we were doing things the way we were before was because we were taking your cuts out of the individual payments in. If we just add them to your total account, then there's no way to take the appropriate cut out. How do you guys want to handle this?
Well, right now, we're gonna take. I have it just written down there because you haven't told me the total is. When I get the total, I'll then split the cut and deduct that amount.
well, if that's
I'm
all,
not giving you totals anymore. I'm
well,
not doing
that,
the math.
was
for
that
you
all
guys,
the
'cause
amounts
that
you're
didn't-
giving us?
Well,
Yeah, that's all the amounts I'm giving you.
Okay,
guys.
so that's 4700.
47,000.
47,000 divided
Divide
by
that by 5.
5.
Actually, no, it was
47,000, and then
We
gave,
split 1/4, right? Isn't that what we were doing?
Yeah, 47,000.
It was divided by
times
4,
times 0.75.
and then
Okay, so the company gets to keep 35,250.
We get
Alright, so-
2350 each.
so add that 35 whatever to the total,
35,250.
and then 1/5 of that 1/4 is to everybody.
Yeah. So
So what was that amount?
it's 35,250. 47,000 minus that.
No, I meant for everybody.
Also, you did it. It was 23 something, right?
2350 it should be.
Can you be more specific with that, with more confidence?
250.
2350.
Yeah, 2350 is the exact.
I will add that to Marcus's.
I'd almost be okay with going to like some sort of a salary type thing or something, just so you didn't have to deal
This
with
is
that.
fine for now.
If this is fine, that's cool.
If it's lean times, we get less. If it's rich times, we get more.
Yes,
That's
that's
the-
true. Our joint account still
Versus
gets to be
salary, which might drain the joint account over time. So
Yeah,
paid. The joint account is getting pretty big now.
that's pretty fat.
Yeah. We
76,000.
intend to buy a ship. I mean, they're like. I assume we'll be after. I like the medium shuttle that he added, the heavy shuttle. That's like 280K. So that's like a down payment. Or
and
something
for
like
Rix, this is going. This is more money than I earned ever
that.
with
We,
Mob.
and when it just comes back, we need to discuss the thing about potentially actually leaving with us when it comes down to the ship. That's up to him whether he wants to or not.
But that might be a little while yet.
So, you all get that, and let's do. Actually, I guess before we do XP,
Which puts the joint account
Akron.
at 76,436.
yeah, that's a very healthy number. Akron, you get a cost estimate on the buggy.
How much does it look like it's gonna run?
Including every last option that you gave him, and like there's an underlined "whoo boy," like you can hear like his accent, like as you read this pretty much. It's the 3,846, but that includes EMP shielding. That's by far the most. He kind of underlines that expense is 2,000 credits. He basically is stating that he would have to tear out all of the wiring and redo pretty much everything, and pretty much replace it with shielded cabling, and he'd have to replace all the link up. So that's by far the most expensive thing, but it's included in the price.
I'm gonna give him a flat 4,000 and tell him to keep the tip.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that includes the EMP shielding, signal booster for the comm server. Like it's not specifically for the comm server. He basically has kind of rejiggered the cargo compartment to have some direct hookups, so that it can like draw power directly from the vehicle if need be. And he's basically added like an antenna that it can shunt from, and it will boost your signal. What is your current range on the comm server? 50K?
I think it's 30K. I think I'm not 100% sure.
I think it's 30. Hold on, I'll go look it up. Keep on going.
I'm actually trying to find it right now.
Wait a minute, I think.
Yep, 30 km.
It will boost it to 50.
Awesome. That is very awesome, actually.
You'll get a tow.
All transmissions can be encrypted on the comm server. I didn't know that. That's cool.
You'll get a tow cable on both the front and the back.
Ooh, awesome.
Smoke launchers like the ones that I described to you during the break, they're basically slung in like underneath, sort of like, I guess they're not slung under the carriage, but they're welded on, and they're basically like a couple tubes, and you basically have the option of spreading smoke completely around the vehicle if need be.
Oh, that is badass.
Although the launchers are quite noticeable if one knows what a grenade launcher looks like. Backup ignition. The run flat tires were pretty expensive, but they're in there. Like, he explains that you'll have to get them repaired. Like, you'll have to replace them pretty much. But should they, get accidentally shot somehow, that as long as they're
God
not,
gives you a knowing look.
Yeah, like as long as they're not actually utterly destroyed, they will get you where you need to go with probably no hampering.
Using stars without numbers, if they're not hit by a tank's main cannon.
Yeah. The armoring for the body was a tricky thing. It's already a metal, like, plated thing, so it's not going to be much more visibly armored. So you don't have to worry about it standing out more than it does. Like, it already stands out pretty much. Like, it's obviously going to be somewhat armored, but it's going to be hard to tell how much it's different. The thing is, combine that with the armor, like the very substantial armor that you ordered for the cargo compartment, which has been converted permanently to the comm server hub. It will have an effect of slowing the vehicle down. Your previous speed was 2, which was motorcycle speed. This will slow it down to 1, which is still pretty fast if I remember correctly. It's vehicles, page 48.
I think it's the same as ours. Instead of being 1 faster.
Probably a worthwhile
yeah. You'll
trade-off.
be going the same speed as the Jeep, which is like faster than a ground car but slower than a grav car. But it'll definitely be armored. He says like light weapons are not going to do a whole lot of damage to this thing. Well, at least the interior or anything. He says that the most tricky 2 things in here, aside from the EMP shielding, was the sunroof. he laughs. He puts sunroof in quotes. He's basically made it so that there is like a sliding hatch above you that you can press, and like an armored panel will slide back over the cargo or over the 2 passenger compartments, and you can stand up from there.
Oh, that is freaking badass.
It doesn't actually have a like a window. Like everything else in the car, pretty much, like you could use it as an alternate means of entering or exiting the vehicle. The other thing, he seems particularly proud of the defense system.
Oh boy.
We're just gonna treat this as like this is the conversation you're having as you picked it up the next day. He points to a rather blatant button on one of the panel. Like, there's not a whole lot of buttons in here. Like, this has been added. It's a red button with like a skull and like electricity on it, like somebody getting shocked. And he says if you press this button, it will electrify the external hull of the vehicle. It will probably, he hasn't tested this out, it will probably cut off external comms while it is active, but the vehicle itself should remain mostly functional when it's turned on. He will warn that you'll have to replace batteries for this after each use.
I'll ask him if there's any risk of using it in the rain.
He laughs. He says, there's definite risks. I've insulated the paneling. Like beforehand, like you had just like bare metal paneling on the sides where your little window slits were and the roof. Now it's kind of like a thick foam padding. Well, not thick, I guess. It's actually fairly thin. All the holes and stuff that are cut into the window, you can still see through them. It's pretty form-fitting to the metal. He added it, one, for insulation there, like basically to protect you from the noise of this thing. He noticed that it was extremely loud. He kind of grins at that. And he says, like, to keep your head from bumping around if you're in a particularly bumpy environment. But he also comments that it should nominally protect you, but he can't guarantee anything in the rain.
I'll definitely very much be appreciative of his work, and very happily give him that extra bit of money there with the 4,000 even.
Yeah, he's really appreciative. He comments that he was actually giving you a slight discount, one, for being a friend of a friend, and two, because you asked him to do something, quote, really awesome. And apparently he had fun on the project. All he asks is you send him, if you get any video capture of this thing in action, send it to him sometime. He wants to see how it performs.
I'm gonna tell him you have no idea what kind of video capture I'll be getting on this thing. And, I'll definitely send him an email down the road.
All right, so that's where we're gonna end that before we calculate XP.
So, Akron, you got shot, right?
Yeah, in my leg. I'm figuring that right now I've got probably like just a bandage on it. Do you want to try and make any kind of proper medical?
You don't have damage deducted, so.
I took 4 off. Did it get back?
It says 12 of 12. Why does it have 12 of 12? You have more than 12.
What?
Akron, weird fucking shit happens with your character sheet, man.
What happened to that? How did I get 12 hit points? I didn't do that.
Alt Z a couple times and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah? Nothing?
Did it fix?
Start redoing because nothing seems to be undoing.
You control Z?
No. Did somebody else have 12 hit points by any chance?
No.
That makes no sense.
Because you had the most, didn't you?
You had a lot.
You remember what you have, right?
Hold on a minute here.
I highly recommend everybody do what I do. I copy my character sheets over to a private Google sheet that nobody else can
I could probably get it.
Tamper with?
I'm sure I have it on
I'm
video
getting
somewhere.
I'm getting it off the revisionist sheet. Give me 1 second.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video, by the way.
Okay.
I copy that.